Well, hello and welcome back to my live stream. So today, my name is Kiki and or Swamp Rose. I go by lots of names, and I'm continuing my podcast on the mysterious Idaho 4 case. And today, I'm doing updates and commentary. And I just wanted to bring up this photo of Kaylee. I'm just gonna instead of BK today, I'm gonna use Kaylee as our this picture. This picture in between our shots because I think it's so beautiful and it's just a new image that's come out that we hadn't seen before until a couple weeks ago. So instead of beginning with updates, I want to start with, and when I say commentary and updates, I really should add this is also trending topics. So I really want to start with some of the trending topics I've seen that don't really get covered on YouTube. And this is one of them. I don't think I've seen this anywhere else recently, so I just thought you all would be interested in it. Now, I'm going to play something by Brat Nortonson, and I oftentimes get pushback playing Brat stuff. Generally, if it's confirmed or the source is confirmed, she privately keeps those receipts to herself. So you take a chance when you show Brat. I'm just putting it into context before I show her work that this is just unverified stuff. And if you know more about this, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Here we go.
It is said that Bryan Kohberger is seen on camera at the Walmart.
Let's go back. So before I start, she's talking about, oh, hold on. Let me just make sure you're on screen. She's talking about November 13th when BK pinged at the 1122 King Road residence at 9 a.m. before the 911 call. So this is, here we go.
Give you new information about the Idaho 4 case. Let's go. It is said that Bryan Kohberger is seen on camera at the Walmart in Pullman, Washington, the morning of November 13th from 8 a.m. to like 9:30 a.m. with a female. And I happened to get a photo of this said female, and we did a little digging and we have found said female. Now, I'm not going to tell you her name and all of her information. However, I think this is kind of huge news because it is, in my opinion, why the affidavit states that that morning when he pings what would be at 1122 King Road, they don't think he was actually there. Why? Because he was at the Walmart in Pullman. And we all know pings when it comes to cases, like pinging cell phone pings are like, because it can be a huge range of an area, right? But this directly then negates him pinging in the area at 112 King Road all the other times, wouldn't you say? Thus, I believe that is why the affidavit states that morning that his phone was pinging in that area at the King Road home, but they don't think he was actually there because he's seen on camera at the Walmart in Pullman with this female. This female, I also believe, her name may or may not be found in documents if you go way back to the beginning, because she not only lives in his apartment complex, but she also works with him.
Yeah. We're going to go back. Let me just make sure this doesn't go on to a different TikTok before I... Just start it over. I just want Brat's picture up there while we talk about this. Just, as you know, I love giving credit to other people. I don't want to make it sound like it's my own sleuthing. So she said two things. So we have to use our own reasonable deduction by what she said, because she's not going to, if you know anything about this particular TikTok creator, she doesn't reveal her sources. You have to trust that she is verifying her. And some people feel that she's burnt us in the past. Whatever your feelings are about Dot, that could play into your feelings. So anyway, let's just go on the assumption that Brat has a good source for this. So if it's someone who's related to him and someone that works with him, and her name has shown up in other documents before, who could they be talking about? So whose name has shown up in documents? Well, she didn't say official documents. large circulated documents. I mean, could she be referring to the Dateline NBC woman, the coworker who lived near Bryan, who allegedly asked Bryan to install security cameras? I mean, I'm just asking. Who else could it be? Someone who lives near him and works with him. Well, there was another woman mentioned who was a neighbor who she lived with her boyfriend, and BK's father allegedly approached the neighbor and asked if he would befriend BK because he had trouble making friends. And I recall the woman going on record saying, and then this was just a few days after they had named BK. And she went on the record saying she told her husband this man was kind of creepy, something's off, don't go over there, don't be friends with him. So that's another woman on record that fits that description. I can't think of any others. I've really just gone back and jogged my memory, but those are the two that I can think of that went on record who both worked at Wasu and lived in Bryan's complex. Let's listen to it one more time, just because there's a couple new people on. It's pretty short, and it was kind of choppy when I played it in the beginning before.
Time I give you new information about the Idaho 4 case. Let's go. It is said that Bryan Kohberger is seen on camera at the Walmart in Pullman, Washington, the morning of November 13th from 8 a.m. to like 9:30 a.m. with a female. And I happened to get a photo of this said female, and we did a little digging and we have found said female. Now, I'm not going to tell you her name and all of her information. However, I think this is kind of huge news because it is, in my opinion, why the affidavit states that that morning when he pings what would be at 1122 King Road, they don't think he was actually there. Why? Because he was at the Walmart in Pullman. And we all know pings when it comes to cases, like pinging cell phone pings are like, because it can be a huge range of an area, right? But this directly then negates him pinging in the area at 112 King Road all the other times, wouldn't you say? Thus, I believe that is why the affidavit states that morning that his phone was pinging in that area at the King Road home, but they don't think he was actually there because he's seen on camera at the Walmart in Pullman with this female. This female, I also believe her name may or may not be found in documents if you go way back to the beginning, because she not only lives in his apartment complex, but she also works with him.
Okay.
Y'all, it's time I give you new information.
Well, okay. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not here to, I'm just here to document, and I'm just documenting what I see. Oh, I have some comments. Maybe people have insight on this. Oh, good morning, Julianne. I hope your weekend's off to a good start. I see coffee and donuts. I'm just missing the donut. I don't know. I mean, I would say, well, I'll just say anyone who's involved in this case is getting anyone who has a small platform, small audience is getting bombarded with emails right now. Either it's people who really are pretending to be sincerely involved in the case, or people who, I don't know what the motives are. I shouldn't be reading what's on someone's heart, but I will say these emails seem really suspicious. They're organized. They're going to certain people. What they're trying to do, I believe, whoever's sending these emails is trying to get people to make videos about it so that it can be corroborated. Because if you hear it two places, it then somehow becomes a fact. Kind of like when we hear random rumors, that I don't want to say that I don't like dismissing 4chan, but let's just say 4chan posts. If you hear it repeated several different platforms and by several different people, it then starts becoming, like almost legit speculation. So I think that's what's going on here. So I don't know why this is released. I don't know, again, if it's part of that misinformation campaign, but again, I don't want to dismiss Brat Nortonson. A lot of people like to say she's the most hated person on the internet, but I actually don't want to dismiss anything she has to say. I'm kind of stumbling over my words, and I don't want to say anything I might regret live, so I'm going to shut up now. I'm talking about LA pudding. Okay, that's interesting. I don't think that Brat said PCA. She said in documents. And so, I mean, you have to take what she says at face value. I think if she would have said official documents, I would have assumed she meant the PCA, but I don't know. So I don't know. And I think so much has been redacted too. And some of the documents that I originally read online are no longer available. So who knows? And I've got a couple more things to show you. So I brought up the Chronicles of Olivia. Let me bring this up for you while I'm talking about it. I always put that on full screen. Hi, sorry. I love this channel. I think this is such a great channel. So I highly recommend Chronicles of Olivia. Let me just make sure that's on screen. I hate it when Gia's not here because I have someone else to, help me run everything. So this is Chronicles of Olivia. We're looking at this one right here. I didn't play this in my last video, but I summarized it. But I actually want to play it for you today. It's only a minute.
46 days since the brutal murders and still no suspect. One of the victims' family members shares with me a new clue. Kaylee Gonzalez's sister Olivia shares with me something she found disturbing on the day of the murders. Here's a screenshot of Kaylee's LinkedIn account. Notice how Kaylee's account was active at 11:33 p.m. on November 13th. This was 12 hours after the 911 call was made, and her account was deactivated.
The content is unwanted or harmful. But, obviously I didn't report it.
Olivia also shows me an email where she messaged Moscow PD and asked them why they deleted Kaylee's LinkedIn. They replied and said it was illegal for them to do that, and it was not them. So the big question is, who was logged into Kaylee's LinkedIn? And why was it deleted? Kaylee had other social media accounts. Why her LinkedIn? It just doesn't make sense. What do you think?
All right, so I have a lot to say about this. I've been digging. In fact, I'm not sure if I'm going to, but I was planning on making an entire video on this, and it's whether or not Kaylee has a stalker. And again, back to the Brat Nortonson saying, you really have to listen precisely to exact words people are saying. Maya, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here and your support. And I wanted to bring up Julianne said she loved Chronicles of Olivia too. But I'm so grateful you guys are joining me this morning. So when we talk about Kaylee and whether she had a stalker, everybody immediately goes to this. And if you don't know who this guy is, this was the original reason. This was one of the original sources we had for a stalker. So this guy told, maybe I'll play you the clip. I'll paraphrase it for now. And I'll pull it up afterwards. So basically this guy said that he owns a vape shop, and Maddie and Kaylee and her friends were in there right before the crime happened. And they were walking in groups, and this gentleman made a comment, and he said, it's very nice that you walk in groups and protect each other. And Maddie spoke up, and she said, well, one of us in our group has a stalker, and they all motioned over to Kaylee. And Kaylee was very stoic about it, apparently. And this wasn't just on one occasion. They talked about it several times. And he brought this information to the police. And basically, I would say around December 2nd, the police came out with an official statement saying they tracked down the incident that they were referencing in this vape shop. So basically what happened was Kaylee was at a gas station and there were these two guys there. And one of the guys literally followed her. Like, she walked out of the gas station to walk to her car, and this guy followed her all the way to her car. I believe this is literally like a couple days before the crime. Or it was definitely within like 2 weeks. And she turned around and it really startled her. And she thought that it was like he was going to approach her, and then he stopped and turned around and didn't finish what he was saying. And the police actually tracked down these two guys through surveillance and questioned them. And basically what had happened was they were two guys trying to pick up women, and one was like the wingman, and he saw how beautiful Kaylee was and wanted to approach her, but he got nervous and kind of chickened out last minute. So the police came and they said, we have discredited this stalking incident for Kaylee. But I want you to pause, because they were specifically referencing the vape shop incident. Okay. There was over 100 tips saying that Kaylee had a stalker. Plus, we just saw Chronicles of Olivia literally saying how somebody was live in her LinkedIn and then deleted the account. Now, yes, that could have been the FBI. Law enforcement says it wasn't them. They could lie. I wouldn't think at this point they would continue a lie like that, but they're allowed to. It's within the rules. FBI could have shut it down. But here's the thing is, Kaylee has other social medias. I mean, you can go onto TikTok and you can watch Kaylee's TikToks right now. Just her LinkedIn. There were other things. There's a computer screen that you can see having an error message right in the window the morning after the unalivings. And that's because they took the computer monitor. There's all sorts of different things. But if all that is true, that would make Kaylee the target. But if it's not Kaylee, hold on, I got a couple comments here before I keep talking. Oh, good. I have so many notes on it. I should put it all together in a video. You remember the vape guy? It was an interesting video, and you have to put your full trust into law enforcement, because he was really shook up about what he heard from the girls. Good morning, Leslie and Billy. Leslie at Billy. I don't know. I have a couple of other trending topics I really want to get to. I just want to look at my notes about Kaylee and make sure I told you. Okay, so there are a couple other things that I should say about this. All right, so when you hear the word stalker, stalking there's a line of escalation. Like, if you were to look at somebody who was disturbed to the point where the unimaginable and unaliving happens, it doesn't happen overnight. There's an escalation. Okay. And part of that escalation, they say, if not every serial killer or murderer follows the same pathway, but basically it starts with arsonism, and bedwetting, and then it can lead to the disregard of animals and things that you do to them. But voyeurism should never be dismissed, because voyeurism is in the chain of escalation. Voyeurism is there, and I don't think that I've ever heard of a serial killer who didn't commit that. So this house had so many clear angles, and I think that the person who exposed that so well to us is Drip Drop, Crime Circus Cult, because they showed us all these areas where there were clearings where you had a clear shot right into Maddie and Kaylee's windows. Voyeurism would have been possible at that house in like at least 3 locations that I could see somebody would be able to park and stare into that house. So that's part of the escalation. And the beyond escalation of that would be the stalking. And regarding those emails that have been going around, they tuned me into a couple of channels that are bringing in some insightful stuff. And I saw one photo of an FBI agent climbing in and out of, I believe it was Maddie's window. One thing that forensic experts were saying, especially if you go back to that court TV document back in October, was that there should be some sort of evidence of stalking. And one of the experts said, I'd like to get into the closets. I'd like to see if there is DNA in the closets, mainly like sweat DNA. And I don't hear about people talking about entry and exit point through that window, but one possibility is maybe he had been there. Maybe when we see the Linda Lane footage, maybe that time frame that we're looking at isn't the correct time frame of parking. Maybe he parked sooner. And then again, I'm just speculating, throwing these things out there, and maybe he was in the house before they got home. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because the reason they were examining that window could indicate some sort of prior stalking or breaking in. And the other thing I want to bring up when it comes to stalking, and then we're going to move on to the other updates, is this spoof, what people are believing is a spoof account. So back in the court TV interview again in October, Kaylee's mother said that right when they heard the name, they went online and they Googled him and they found this account, and it had previously on other occasions liked Maddie and Xana's photos. So I think I dismissed that once I saw like the faceless interview on TikTok and how people would create these accounts and get 10,000 followers. And then they changed the name to Bryan Kohberger once they heard the name. So yeah, it could be someone setting it up, but basically what was claimed in that court TV interview was that somebody was that BK was allegedly internet stalking Maddie. So I can't say either way, but I'm just a documenter and I'm trying to document these things for you. Oh, we have more people here. Hi, Pia. It's always fun when Strange is in the house, Julianne. Oh. Well, I know you guys could be anywhere on your Saturday morning, so I'm grateful you're here. So I have something interesting I want to show you guys. Again, this is on the topic of updates. Or actually, not on the topic of updates, but on the top. We'll get to more updates in a second, but on the topic of trending topics. And I do spend quite a bit of time on Reddit. It used to be more. There used to be more stuff on Reddit in a couple of these forums, but let me take myself out of the picture here. we've said it before on this channel. I think that that's one of the most, I mean, if you're going to have to compare the uncomparable with something, we can look at that. That was a horrendous crime. And there were other people there that were sleeping in the sorority house. I also, this is from my heart, I need to bring this up to you. When they interviewed Ted Bundy years later about that crime, they asked him, how did you pick those girls? Like, why is it that you went right by some doors and then you went into others? Because again, he didn't go into Dylan's door, and it's one of the first doors when you come through a certain entrance. And Ted Bundy's answer was, it's very simple. I went into the doors that were unlocked. So I'm just saying, lock your doors. I'm muted. Uh-oh. Okay, so apparently there was no sound. Did you guys hear it? Can you hear me now? Oh, for the Reddit stuff. Okay. Well, then I'm very sorry about that. And I feel like I'm going to go back. So I'm going to read this over, and then I'm going to read a few comments. And I'm sorry about that for the redundancy. But when I edit this and make a video, I'll clean it up a little. I'm like cloud chasing today. I'm wicked sorry. So let's get serious. And I'm going to read you this Reddit article. So this is by Unfair Muscle 8741. I'm just curious what you guys think happened. I realize we don't know anything until the trial, but I'm wondering what everyone thinks about there not being any screaming. There's some thumps and creepy things said as described by Dylan and heard from the cameras, but as far as I know, no one heard screaming unless I'm unaware. How do you guys think this is possible? It seems that they were attacked in groups of 2. I'd expect the one not being attacked to be screaming bloody murder or fighting heard by Dylan, but there's nothing about that in the affidavit. Maybe he attacked them both at once. Seems like he'd have to be very skilled, which I doubt. This is just speculation. Absolutely no disrespect to the victims. I'm just really wondering what could have happened and where he got the killings to be kept quiet for the most part. That's a really tough one to read. So I immediately went down to this comment. We're going to read down because all of them are just so insightful, but this one is important, I think. And I told you my opinion on it, so I'm just going to read it now. It says, when Ted Bundy killed 2 women by clubbing in the Chi Omega sorority house in Tallahassee while they slept, no one heard anything. 2 additional women were also attacked. Then he goes on to say, one of the survivors was on record saying she slept right through the murders. She didn't wake up until he was right by her bedside. She had no time to scream before he disabled her with his first hit. After he left, she was conscious, but she couldn't get out of her bed and she couldn't call for help. And there were other people in the sorority house, if you didn't hear it before, that slept through the entire incident. And their doors, Ted Bundy says he didn't enter their doors because they were locked. These were the unlocked doors. We're going to read a little bit more from Reddit. So Too Bad 999 says, speaking from experience, you don't always scream when you're in a traumatic situation that puts your life in danger. It's not always like in the movies. Sometimes you are so scared, in shock, and focused on survival that your voice doesn't work. Cowboy Like Megan says, I always think I'll scream if something goes down in reality. The few times I've been involved in scary situations, I've never actually made a peep. Freezing seems to be a very common response, and if they were sleepy or drunk, I'd imagine their responses would be even more delayed. And then somebody replied to her, same. I wheezed. I couldn't breathe. I was rooted to the spot. It was like a bad dream where you just cannot scream at all. Then the Ted Bundy guy. And then one person just writes the word shock. Secure Limit 477 says, there were no screams reported when Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson were murdered. She lived in a duplex with people awake right next door. You know, everyone always talks about OJ. I don't know the case that well. I know, what's public knowledge. I never studied it, but that's really interesting. I mean, you could throw a stone into any of the other houses near OJ. Because I saw the Kardashian story thing. Thank you, Demon Dog. I appreciate. We can get a few more comments up. I honestly could not find one comment I didn't want to include. They're so good. And then Motaboat says, way back there was a vocal coach person or the like who posted, Facebook, I believe, that the dynamics of the voice and screaming. As I recall, screaming is not as easy and automatic as all of us would believe. Muse Your Name says, I thought it was, this is a tough one, so trigger warning, you guys. I thought it was puncturing of the lungs and throat that would prevent breathing and vocalization. He could have stabbed them quickly, one after the other, no chance for either of them to scream, as they both drown in their own blood. Oh my gosh, so horrific to think about and to write this. It's horrific to think about and write, but it's the subject matter we're talking about. It's difficult to, we can't put our heads in the sand. All right, so next one. I think that MM and EC were fast asleep. KG only had time to wake up and back into the corner. I suspect XK tried to warn housemates with someone's here and then had to fight for her life. I'm going to cry. This is so sad. All of a sudden, and at night, who has time to scream when you desperately try to when you're desperately trying to stay alive? I don't know what it is. I've just become, Xana always makes me want to tear up. She's so sweet. They all are so sweet and beautiful, but yeah, I'm just going to stop there. I think absolutely nothing of no screaming, because I've seen actual videos of, this is awful, of people being stabbed who did not scream at all. I can't believe that there's videos out there of people being stabbed. Got Kitten says, I think silly horror movies are to blame for this idea that natural reaction when attacked is to scream like a banshee. It really doesn't happen that way. First, it's deeply unnatural when unexpectedly faced with a predator to make noise of alarm, survival instinct. And secondly, it's physically impossible once there's trigger warning, there's a puncture to the thoracic cavity or neck. I don't know that for a fact, but if somebody's in the medical world, I mean, obviously the neck, but the thoracic cavity, I mean, it would make sense. You need your abductor muscles to scream. I mean, maybe the sheer pain, maybe she's referencing the pain. I think you could physically still scream. Okay. Oh, someone replied to her. Oh, no. Okay. I see both sides of the explanation people make. No screams because it was quick and some were asleep or they had to scream. The only thing that trips me up is when Ethan's SIL literally saying that DM needs to explain. Okay. Yes, this is true. Oh, I made a video about this, so I'm going to read the whole thing. I made a video about this and I kept it private. It's been seen 200 times and then I made it unlisted because I'm so uncomfortable talking about the surviving people in this. But yeah, okay, I'll explain myself. Let me read the comment and then I'll explain myself. She says, the only thing that trips me up is SIL literally saying DM needs to explain herself for not calling the police after she heard screaming. And I'm 1000% sure DM heard more that night than it's not just in the PCA. Maybe I'll play the video. I don't know. So basically, this was originally written on Facebook, and she was asking for them to do further research on not just Dylan, but they also were bringing up the fact that when they couldn't form a timeline for Xana and Ethan, one thing that somebody found on Facebook was that Ethan had Venmo'd Jack at 11:36 that night, like still when they had no idea where he was. And Kaylee also had made Venmos to Jack. And of course, these could be just for, a ride. They were small Venmos, but who knows what it was about. And then the other incident, and again, I'm going back to stuff I never really documented because I could only verify it there, was that the day before that, less than 24 hours before the murders happened, there was another Venmo from Jack's sister to, I believe, Xana or something along those lines. And it said 3:30 a.m. was the only memo next to it. And that is, again, within 24 hours of the PCA. Right. We have a lot to go over, but if you guys want to see the video I made on it, I guess I'll show it here. I'll just show it once in my live stream. I don't want it on my public channel, but it was an interesting video. Let me read a couple more of these. Okay, here we go. So Nervous Garage says, you all need to get over this thing about screaming. It was way over the top and doesn't mean jack shit. Most of us that have been scared or the very worst has found out that our vocal cords shut down, and even when we want to scream, it just doesn't come out. And then somebody wrote back to him, when I was a kid, I remember being able to scream fairly loud, yet at some point, I feel like I lost the ability to somehow as an adult. It's strange to explain, but the comment makes me feel a little bit better. Shut down right now. I don't know about all these people. I scream. If somebody surprises me, I scream at the top of my lungs. I'm not saying everybody does, but I don't know why they say that. All right, you guys want to see it? All right, I'll show it to you. Yep. It's a little controversial. Trigger warning. All alleged and speculation before I play this. I have to go into my studio. Content. All right. It's an oldie. Bear with me. All right. All right, I found it. Here goes nothing. Why is this? Hold on a second. Being a little bit amateur here. Sharing the wrong screen. Oh, controversy. So we're beginning with questions from the comments section from my Idaho 4 podcast, and let's listen in on the research that I've done. Who was Ethan's best friend? Hunter comes to mind. As far as I can tell, the only place we ever heard that was when Hunter told us during the service. So it is kind of important because Ethan's best friend discovered him that morning. So could that have been Jack? So we do have to talk about Jack. And even if I don't want to talk about Jack, if I want to cover this case, Jack is part of this timeline. I mean, the police didn't even know where Ethan and Xana were from 9 to 1 a.m. And during that period of time, he Venmo'd Jack money. And even though those things are from unconfirmed sources, what is a confirmed source is Ethan's sister-in-law. And in the same article where they were questioning whether Jack could be Ethan's best friend, Ethan's sister-in-law also said that they should. What else is interesting is Ethan's sister-in-law being confirmed and Xana were found inside Xana's room. I think that nobody's really emphasized that. She said it as fact. She wasn't speculating in the comment. Let me show it to you. And then I dug a little bit deeper and I found this very, very local interview.
One of them, I believe, was his girlfriend was also killed. Is that correct?
Yes, Xana. Yeah, they were in the same room.
And I think that's all the questions I have. But
So I'm not trying to jump around with subjects. I just thought that was very interesting and it came up in my research because till this point, I had not had a confirmation as to exactly where Ethan and Xana were found that morning. I'm going to transition right here to some questions and comments that have been left regarding HJ. You know, but before I really get into things with Jack, I want to talk about Hunter a little bit. I have an anonymous source who I turned to and I asked him, how odd is it that a postgraduate of 1 year would return to a party or even spend the night and hang out at their old fraternity house? I also, aside from what I'll tell you, my anonymous contact told me, my anonymous source told me, I also went on Reddit and I read what other people said about the same subject. So in general, most people will say it's fine, but they never did it. That's the majority answer. This is what my anonymous source told me. They told me that it would be very common for somebody who lived rurally in a place like Idaho or Moscow, Idaho, to come home and party in their old fraternity on the weekend, especially right out of college. When you live rurally, there isn't a lot to do. Maybe you work in a factory, maybe either way, not much else around. And it's probably one of the most exciting things to do. My source said that when they got out of college, they lived in the city. There was always fun things to do, and they never returned to their fraternity house until a reunion many, many years later. So there's that. There are people who continue to do it. It's not necessarily as you get older, it's not necessarily desirable behavior, but it's not necessarily abnormal either. It's certainly not uncommon on like an alumni weekend or a homecoming weekend to have graduates coming back to their fraternity, but it just is what it is. And so I would say, seeing that he had just graduated, it's not that unusual, but it's not probably the only reason Hunter was there. And again, just to keep things kind of balanced, I need to say HJ has a lot of connections to that house. Hunter had very close ties to the 1122 house. So I'm going to show you this article. Hunter dated a woman. I actually have decided not to show the title of the article because it has the girl's name in it, and I'm not showing her name or face in this video. The woman you see is Hunter's ex-girlfriend, and she lived at the 1122 house the year before. So he was really close to these people, and we know that he was at least friends with Dylan and at least friends with Xana. Now, I've also heard that, and this is complete speculation and rumor, he may have been involved with. And I'm not saying that to suggest that's why he was in the area that night. I'm saying it because it shows the level of comfort with Hunter coming into that house. He was very close to this house. If he was Ethan's best friend, it would really make sense why Dylan called him to break through that door that we believe had an automatic lock on it and probably needed to be broken in with force, likely with a tool like a crowbar or just brute force. So go back to Jack. So I'm going to just bring up the entire article where I was talking about his sister-in-law and those threads, and I'm going to take it from Facebook or take it from Twitter to X, and I'm going to show you some of the comments on X because they are compelling. Other people in the house paid him money.
You know what?
Other financial transactions.
They're referencing that Elantra in X, the Elantra that was found in Oregon. I want to keep going. I just wanted to tell you what
actions connect.
I edited. So even though I made this video and didn't release it, I actually was so nervous about this video. I went back and I edited out so much because you can, after you've uploaded a video onto YouTube, you can go into their editing and re-edit it. And I took out so much after the fact. So this video is like bare bones of what it used to be. It was the most speculative video I've ever made.
Connected to Ethan and Xana and Kaylee within that 24 hours, as far as I can understand, and allegedly. Those are unconfirmed sources. I'm going to end by talking about these alternative suspects by showing you these recent tweets by Quinn Kelly. Now, he's clearly stating that he was contacted by both local and federal authorities. So I think we can all be rest assured that all of these people have been contacted, investigated, and cleared. I'm just ending that thread on this Elantra comment because, so I just wanted to transition from this comment into the white Elantra because besides Hunter, the white Elantra is the second most commented subject. So I'm just going to go down and read some of these comments to you because some people have done top-notch research. Some people are recommending things for you to look at home. So I just want to put it all out there to you because some people are recommending that you look at these things yourself. Some people are telling you resources. So I just want to put it all out there for you. Okay, so I'd like to start with this comment because it got 32 likes. It was very popular. My industry, I worked for 36 years, in which identifying machinery and vehicles played a role. I can say for certain, the blurry videos were not of a 2015 Elantra. It is possible it could have been a 2011 Elantra or not, but there are two features on a 2011 that the 2015 did not have. The fact that the video is blurry actually makes it easier to see the features missing. The defense knows this. I can tell you with firsthand knowledge that the defense knows this. That's a pretty interesting comment. So I'm going to just read another one here. I think this comment is really interesting and you all are going to really appreciate it. You can't get a plate pick if the town does not have cameras above the streetlights or portable devices that are stationary that record the speed and send tickets. The car police said was Bryan's was not. The car is clearly 2015 and it jumps out at you immediately and know what it isn't. The car we see resembles a Chrysler 300. My software still has not made it clear enough. Old software. But then he adds, but no software is needed to tell it is not a 2015. Again, we have another great comment here. Thank you for sharing. I have closely studied the blurry photos side by side with the photo of a 2015, and I noticed that the headlights and the tail lights are very different. It looked as though there were a spoiler type thing on one and not the other as well. So these are just some more comments I was playing. So that's all for that video. So thank you so much for watching, and justice for the Idaho 4. Horrible video. Yeah. So I thought I'd feed the rumor mill a little bit, and nothing I said isn't on public record. I just try to be responsible with what I report, and if I'm aware that I don't have a verified source, I just try not to show it if I can. I also think that there is a responsibility to document what people are talking about as well. So let me get the next subject up here for you guys. I do have some more important things to cover. So this next subject I'm bringing up again is us going back to Reddit, but I thought that the way this question was asked is putting into words something that people talk about a lot. So this person, I just felt that their question really put into words what a lot of people are saying, but they don't know what they're asking. So let me just read it to you. This is written, this comment was made by Clear Advisor 6959. And it's in, I can't talk straight. Sorry. Like I said, I'm like a cloud chaser today. It's titled, Why an Intelligent Organized Killer May Have Targeted That House, Even Without Meeting Any of the Victims. All right. According to one of his professors, BK was said to be intelligent, highly functional student. Even students he was a TA for said in interviews that he was intelligent and he liked to show it. Many psychologists, profilers, and criminologists will categorize murderers, serial killers into either 3, 4, or 5 groups. I will use the FBI's behavioral science units, which is 3 groups. 1, organized, 2, disorganized, and 3, mixed.
I think BK would fall into the first category, which is intelligent and well planned, and generally leaves little or no evidence. I have always maintained that he left the sheaf on purpose to throw off law enforcement. And that's really the only place I kind of differ with this person, but I digress. There are serial killers who have left someone else's hair, fag butts, and a fag butt is like an English way of saying a cigarette, you guys. A fag butt, fake ransom notes, etc., to throw off Ellie or to implicate someone else. Maybe he tried to throw off Ellie by carrying out the murders in a certain way. He would have knowledge of this through his studies. So BK moves to Pullman. He knows he wants to kill someone, and he puts his plan into place. It's just a horrible way of putting this, but anyway, because again, if you believe that, then you're excluding that escalation that we talked about in the beginning of this video. People don't just wake up and do this. The impulse, you would have to have had a history of doing that, because your mind is, I guess there are no absolutes in life, but the psychology behind it is nobody goes from the 0 to the 60 for the escalation. There's an escalation period. So BK wouldn't just move to Pullman and to pick a target, or it wouldn't be working like that. He's the fixation would be on. Anyway, I'll stop talking because I'm not doing very well. So we'll keep reading, and I'll edit that whole part out that I just said. So BK moves to Pullman. He knows he wants to kill, so he puts his plan into place. All serial killers have a type. He knows he couldn't do it on his doorstep, so he travels to, see, this is so hard to read because I don't like this part. At Idaho University to carry out the reconnaissance for the area. He knows he'll have to use his car, so he looks for an area/house which looks easy to access. His type of victim, and he has a lot of cars similar to his own to hinder the investigation. And then it says something about 22,000 Elantras, which we know is really not an accurate number. There was actually more like 500 Elantras, because that 22,000 was the per capita generalization number from Hyundai. But because of the area and terrain, and there's probably only about 500 Elantras. But digressing, 22,000 Elantras or a similar type of car in Idaho/Moscow surrounding areas were said to be involved in the investigation by Ellie at that time of his arrest. Anyways, it might prove true that BK has no connections to the victims, and he might be that Ellie will not find any digital footprint. At the end of the day, even with planning, he has to make mistakes, but just trying to show how he may have chose these kids without stalking/vegan restaurant aspect. Thoughts? We know he visited the King Roads area at least 12 times before the murders, or at least some of these visits may have nothing to do with the house. It could have been other houses he was looking at, or he may have seen his victims from a distance and never actually met them in person. So I'm not reading this because I agree with him. I like the point. I'm reading his article because he brings up the point of organized versus disorganized killer. So I'm sorry I stumbled through that. Thank you, darling. This is interesting. 99 Demon Dog says 99% of the time, if a person doesn't scream, they are in shock. Your body watches you get stabbed and would most likely be very vocal. Nevada, I'm so happy you can make it. Thanks, Peter. Oh, we got Jeff H here. Yeah, let's stop right there. Pia brought that up in her last video, that a K-bar is a weapon in multiple aspects. And like Jeff just said, Pia mentioned that could have been, the knife could have been used like that. Very insightful. And then Pia says she comes from a military family, and she is a veteran herself. So we just want to say thank you for your service, Pia, and all the other veterans who are watching. All right, so back to the subject. So the problem is when we do all these analysis, everyone's like, okay, so BK's an organized killer. He planned it. He planned it down to the meticulous detail, so there was literally barely any DNA left. But then there's all these disorganized things. Like, why would he bring his cell phone? Why would he pick such a densely populated area? So there are these questions. I think for me, if I were to try and reconcile that, it would have to be that stalker aspect. But as this person states, there's no digital trail of stalker. Let's keep reading because I'm having trouble talking. So Zachman says, I agree with you. Aside from leaving the sheath on purpose bit, in what way would that benefit him? He fucked up in his frenzy. And then Bill Hayden says, I too am having trouble with this one. If it was deliberate, he would have absolutely underestimated the state's ability to retrieve DNA from it. What was the purpose? Unless he didn't use a K-bar. Even so, they would figure this out. Maybe he just fucked up. But that's the point. That's why this person wrote it like this. That's why this person contradicted himself, is because the whole thing is a contradiction. Either he's organized or disorganized. But I guess there's this third option, which is mixed, which the FBI uses. No way there would be 22,000 white Elantras in that immediate area. That would even, I'm glad somebody is bringing this up, that would even mean the other car on the road in Moscow, every other car in the Moscow was a white Elantra. I'm not sure what the range Ellie is referencing, but I'm skeptical of that one, even if it includes the entire state. That said, I do believe that there was exactly one white Elantra missing its front license plate on the road at 4 a.m. that night of the murders, driving in that general vicinity of the King Road home. Coincidentally, BK happens to own a white Elantra. He had his phone stop communicating for a window of time around the murders, and somehow his DNA was on the top sheath of the murder victim, which also happens to admit being driving at night on his own with alibi. I'm not going to continue with that comment, but you get the point, is the frenzy this creates in the comment section, because this case is so bipolar. He's either organized or he's not. And then this person writes, I don't think he would fall under the organized killer category at all. In my opinion, he would be in the mixed killer category. Just because a murderer is highly intelligent doesn't automatically mean that they will be organized killer. Ed Kemper comes to mind. We don't know if he left a little or no evidence behind. All we know is that he left a sheath with his DNA on it. His DNA and fingerprints could be all over the stair railing, the doorknob. Maybe he cut himself on, maybe his DNA got mixed into one of the victims. We just don't know yet. The button snap on the sheath would have been one of, if not the first swab of DNA, since it was a singular source sample, was enough to get into the PCA. I'm not going to keep going with this because I think we've kind of made our point, but I struggle with that one a lot. I hear different people say, if there's more DNA evidence, they would have put it in that PCA. And then I hear other people say, well, they wouldn't even have all the DNA evidence back by the time they got that PCA. I don't know, but just throwing it out there. Hold on, we got some more. I'm ready for it, Pia. Let's know your question. I probably don't have an answer, but I can talk about it. And while we're waiting for that, I am going to bring up the last... full screen again. The last update I wanted to show you guys. You know, but when you're talking about a girl who's 120 pounds and someone with a larger body frame, I mean, I hate to say it, but there are other, I'm just going to say Muay Thai, and you guys can Google that and figure it out from there. But I'm just speculating too. I don't know. If you're wondering what this is, I'm just going to show this to you guys. I have a metaphysical channel, and this is a Komoso necklace. They're these, this one is actually my husband's. You guys know him. He comes on this channel sometimes. I bought it for him. I bought him this special edition 14 karat gold one. But basically, it's a special, it's like a whistle, but it doesn't whistle. And you breathe through it when you're doing stressful things, and it helps calm you down. And I've been getting so stressed out lately. When I researched this case, I've decided to wear this, and like in the live stream, if I'm getting stressed, like that Jack video, I breathe through it. I'm sorry to be such a pussy. Okay, so this is what Pia says. My question is about what kind of car. If it was frat boys, then no car was necessary, and car talk is distraction, right? I keep looking at all angles. Yeah, I know what you meant, Pia. But it's a Freudian slip, right? Let's read Pia's question one more time. My question is about what kind of car. If it was frat boys, then no car was necessary, and car talk is distraction, right? I keep looking at all angles. Yeah. And I always, oh wait. I just saw something else I'm going to bring up in a second. We have a responsibility to look at all angles. We are not a nation where people, we find a person and we say, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. We have to look at all angles. And if, you know, it would be the opportunity wise, what P is saying is right. No car would be necessary if it was somebody from the frats. So opportunity wise, yeah, it would be easier. But we have a responsibility to look at all angles. And I like that P is posing this question. And I think that if anyone out there has some insight on this, let's hear your opinions. I don't know. Welcome back, Chad. I'm glad you're here. Okay, here we go. Nevada's got something. I think the white car isn't the unaliver. I think that they were in the black SUV, and they are looking for that car because they were there at the same time. Do y'all remember the black SUV? Because the black SUV circles and circles. And if I remember the time, it was past 3:30. It's been a long time since I've seen that black SUV. That was one of the first times that I raised my eyebrows at the Linda Lane footage. And I said, okay, putting all the other stuff people are talking aside, with that black SUV, if they need to find out who that driver is and ask if they saw anything suspicious going on in the area at that time. And that's when I was like, all I can think is we have to blindly put our trust in the police that they're questioning all these people or have. Enon remembers it. Enon has spoke a lot. I'll go back and see what Enon said about the SUV. Thanks for the tip, Pia. That's great. Mark's here, you guys. Somebody said something that is sparking my interest before I get to the case update. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Nevada Kemp says, has anyone seen the Rolo video today? If you guys have seen it, or if Nevada, if you could tell us what it's about or if it's worth putting on, we'll watch it, because I don't mind. I have plenty of time this morning. I can stay a little longer. Hold on. It's frats to some extension. How else do you get the loyalty from BF and DM? We're just looking at what's plausible, guys. They haven't talked about that black SUV and aspects of vehicle number one. In my opinion, it means there's more than one. And then Dean says, Ellie was around the house between 2:18 and 2:30 if audio at Linda Lane is correct. And that's the other conspiracy. I have no reason. I would, at this point, I feel, because of the way that they match up if the audio is fake, then the video is fake. I'm not saying things couldn't have been added to it, but it doesn't sound like the audio has been tampered with, in my amateur opinion. But good comment, Dean. Oh, Julianne says it's good. She saw it. All right, well, we can play that. Okay, unpopular opinion, which has some popular opinions, contrary to their name. And Enon, or however he spells his name, says he remembered seeing an expensive-looking black SUV with out-of-state plates. I'm intrigued. I'm going to go back. I can't believe I haven't really dug more about the SUV yet. I'm writing myself a note. Oh, here's Jeff. I keep thinking about the car that speeds off at 4:21:19 a.m. and the skid marks police are measuring the next day. I'll have something to say about this. And it is just coincidence that the car speeding off 9 minutes after Xana's last sign of life. That's a good one, Jeff. Very, very good comment. Good job, Jeff. I'm very proud of you for that one. Okay, so what was I going to say? The tire tracks being measured. I've shown this in other videos. I brought those tire tracks up being measured. And I have those photographs and they're documented in this podcast. But when I was researching, the newspaper clearly states that they were measuring four-wheeler tracks. So unless you're talking about tire tracks that we witnessed the police measuring that I haven't seen, I think they're talking about the four-wheeler tracks in the dirt. So that would be right in front of the King House. But if there were like skid tracks on Linda Lane that I didn't see the police measuring, then maybe that's what you're talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I think those were four-wheeler tracks. The good sign is that the police were taking tire evidence because it is super powerful. And if there is tire evidence, it's almost like fingerprint evidence from my understanding. Inan said the SUV was super dope or something like that, I thought. That sounds Inan harsh. That sounds like a Inanism. Jeff H., why don't you look into the audio at Linda Lane from 2 a.m. to 3:12 and you will be shocked. Yeah, I mean, we hear dog barking. We hear somebody scream Xana, and I can't hear these distinctly, but enhanced people say that's what they're hearing. I heard the dog bark one time. There's a huge thud, and the thud is as loud as the screams. And I think that that's what's disturbing is like, well, what could that be? But it is a Saturday night, and, you know, somebody might have fallen down. Okay. Mark B says, Jeff, car speeding off 3 minutes after the SUD. And I think he meant to say, yeah, he did. Demon Dog says, as an old idiot, how well can people fake the video in this day and age? Or is it just a Bigfoot video? That's a great, I see what you're saying. Okay, so I don't think they're talking in terms of somebody staging it and faking the scene. What they're referencing is, did somebody take a different night and put the right timestamp on it? That's what they're referencing. That's number one. Number two, the audio, the file that was received because it was leaked could have had an overlay of audio. So the video itself doesn't look like it's been tweaked, like things added to it or scrubbed out. It's just, we have to trust that that timestamp is correct. So that's where somebody could fake it. They could take a different night altogether, put a timestamp on there and the date, and it really wasn't that night. And then they could also add some sounds before they sent the file out. So that's how it could be faked. But as far as like, there isn't people dressing up and like staging, you know, it's not like that kind of fake. It's, unless I'm wrong. And I'm not a sleuth. I'm just a podcaster. Yes, SS, he did. I really think we are looking for the wrong car. It's not the white car. It was only there around the same time. Black SUV, in my opinion, is what we need to find out more about. It's probably not too early in the morning for politics, Mike. Nevada, I think they had company and they left suddenly and no car necessary for the unalivings. I mean, what person would think driving into such a densely populated area that they're not going to have their picture taken somehow, or they're not going to be spotted, you know? But that goes back to the organized, unorganized killer. He could be a mixed killer. You can see the black skid marks the police are measuring in front of the house. It looks to me like he was speeding away from the back of the house and he made a left and lost control a bit, which is what I hear in the footage. Jeff, I don't know where this picture is of that. You just talk. So I'm assuming it's in the beginning. I looked everywhere for tire measuring footage and I only found one, and it was in the front of the house, but I thought it was in the dirt. But I'll look again, because it was in my very first Idaho 4 podcast. We went over the tire tracks. So I'll write myself a little note. Tires for Jeff H. And that's a great subject we'll get into. All right, let's go to okay, we got a couple things. So Dean wants to hear 309. You guys, I'll just pull up the Linda Lane footage and we'll get back to Rollo in a second. All right, we're going to watch it. Here we go. It's like my eyebrow looks so funny in this. Full screens. Here we go. Jeff H. So I guess this is, we'll go to this one. So we're looking at 309, but this is indifference mode. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. This is really serious, so I'm gonna stop. I just have questions. I don't have any like insightful knowledge to give, but I have questions. So I've always one thing that when I finally saw the position of Linda Lane versus the house, like really studied it, it is far away. And when I hear the background noises, I don't know, could they be coming from King Road, or is this from internally within the actual apartment building? I know people are awake because, I see people coming home at 1 a.m. I see people driving around at 2 a.m. Don't know if those noises are coming from the building, but the one thing that makes me perk up is that it does sound, even without headphones, it does sound like they're saying Xana. And thank you for Jeff, who's going to email me those pictures. I really appreciate you bringing this up, Mike. All right, so let's listen to the thud while we have this up. Mark B says it's at 417. Wait, I don't know if this goes to 417. No, this is just to 4 a.m. Let me go back. Oh, this is indifferent. This isn't going to work. Yep, right there. Okay, here we go. whatever you guys hear on that camera, if I had to make an educated opinion about it, whatever I hear on that camera isn't coming from inside the building. It sounds like it's echoey coming from beyond the building. And I don't know what I'm hearing, but it does sound either maybe like an echoing of a female scream, or the other thing it kind of sounded like was when you press your button on your car to unlock your car. It kind of sounded like that too. What did he say, Dean? I think if you're talking about the earlier footage, you might be. I heard the Xana too. I just need to put headphones on to get it. You do, Pia? What should we be looking at? I do too. I think that the evidence lies in the metadata for sure. But this is what we have. And if this footage is real and this is where it is allegedly parked, I mean, we're looking at something. And if this is all we have to study, then we should look through every single minute of this video to find clues. That's our obligation. That would be anybody's obligation. It just says if they're a nothing burger, then they're a nothing burger, but we should be looking. Or the police should be looking, I guess. All right, I'm going to read this one by Jeff. Mark B, in my theory, the killer comes up behind Xana while Ethan is in the bathroom, and I imagine he strikes her on the head. Trigger warning. Perhaps she hears the killer's footsteps and thinks that it's Ethan. Jeff, you said that before, that in your theory, you would want to know what the sounds were like from the bathroom out in the hallway, and that was a shame that they tore the house down for that one reason. I like that theory. The only thing that I would think of is we just played a clip earlier of Xana's mother stating that both Xana and Ethan were found in the same room. The other place that corroborated that was I played that little controversial video about Jack earlier, and his sister-in-law says in that Facebook post that Ethan and Xana were found together as well. So there's two corroborations to that. So I don't know. Of course, we'll find out. Dang, don't any of y'all ever look at the ink blot? Sheesh. What did he say? Yeah, we want to know. I think he's referencing the first clip we showed at 3:17. Let's hope not. Let's hope not, Mike. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments, you guys. All right, well, I'm going to get to the next clip and read through your comments because I didn't realize there's like 40 of them, 40 more since I last looked at them. So somebody suggested that we look at Rolo's new video, and that just reminds me, Pia has a new video out. We're going to at least start by looking at Rolo's, and then we'll look at a couple other things. And we still have to get to case updates because we have some the full screen. We have some case updates to give you too that I should have led with. Actually, let's go back to here. And then we just type in roll a joint of marijuana in Spanish. And there's our friend. It's a 15-minute video, you guys. So let me put the, give me 1 second before I play this because I don't know if we want to do the full 15 minutes. Just give me a minute.
It was a
All right, guys, I'm just gonna play this. Yeah, we're just gonna play this. Okay. Again, Rolo doesn't state this because his channel's not monetized yet, but everything Rolo's about to say is speculation. It is his opinion, and the opinions of the people I feature or the guests on my channel do not necessarily reflect that of mine or my channel. Let's go. Do your own research, form your own opinions.
Everyone, first of all, this is all alleged speculation, my personal opinion, theory, and all for entertainment. And everybody I mentioned here is all innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Well, trip out on this, people. I had already heard about this guy crashing the 1122 King Road home parties, harassing girls, and being intoxicated, being pushy, and, you know, stuff like that. Look at the way when he rolls up, the way the girl walks away, and the look, all this body language, the way he covered his face, like in shame, or I don't know, so he's embarrassed or something. And look at how these guys post up, like in a protective stand.
And if I'm warning them, I better go fucking warn them. True.
Well, I saw that big tall JBL on the back guy there.
How the fuck did you see the JBL fucking sign, which is like 1 by 1, all the way from that Jack D's house? Calm down, Rolo. And look at Kaylee right here, you know, playing the part, being fake, you know, I'm just tired of this fool, like, you don't get to hit it.
I thought that I would drive it. I thought that we would probably switch. I'm like, oh, probably, because we didn't get it back for a long time. And that car hit me hard.
6-7 months.
When we got that car back.
They pulled a chip out of it. It took them, it was a little bit more complicated to get it all working and running again. They pulled a chip out of it.
You have to succumb to the fact that there's people out there doing evil things, and we have to figure out how to address those people and get them off the streets before they do this to your family or to another set of kids that are just getting educated and going to school and come home at night and go to bed. But there's people out there doing evil things, and we have to figure out how to address those people and get them off the streets before they do this to your family.
Is anyone acting differently since the murders? I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say not in the immediate circle.
This is making sense now, people? Come on. Look at his pocket. Look at what he got right there. It's one of these, but bigger. This is a small version right there. I mean, one of these or something like that. Look at his jacket. Look at the way the investigator's looking at him. Where's his body cam at now? Huh? Look at his partner. I think this is Hunter. Huh? Contaminated the scene already, huh? Look at this Popo right here, huh? This is, come on, when he opens the door. Huh? That's Popo right there. I mean, when on the apartments, this guy's suspicious with his statements. Katie didn't even work there. This guy, see the one in the white shoe? He's the one hiding when they get off the car. And I think they live in the apartments next to the ones on Taylor. I mean, where there was actions going on now. Look at the pizza box. Xana's, remember? 12? She went down and threw the pizza box away, and she got attacked in the kitchen. Look, that's evidence. That's the blood. Come on. Why did the police wipe it after? Huh? Look, they cleaned the blood. Why? Covering it up. Come on, people. So they know it's going to go back to them. Look at this stalker. Dutch brother sweater. I mean, with the fucking head knot on, the knot on his head. They have blood on them too. Look, this partner right here. I mean, look at the numbers they use: 18, 81, or whatever, a 9, a 6, a 8, 666 adds to 18. I mean, come on, people. 8 and yourself. I mean, 1 and 8. Come on, look at the mass. That's Jack K. I mean, look. Come on, look. You're gonna say it ain't it? Remember the kids running? That's the same thing right there. Come on, people, fuck with me. I mean, look, deadly. That's his account. Number 9, Bears jersey. Flip them around, 666. I mean, look. Come on, look at the people right here.
Wait, I want to pause this.
The shadows don't match. There's people all over.
I'm going to stop. Wait, I got to go back. I want to tell you guys something interesting I found out.
Look.
Okay, stop right there. This car, that right here, I was listening to, I can't remember the name of the channel. She goes by the Black Moon or Luna Noir or something. This car right here in this picture, she identifies it in 3 other frames where Maddie and Kaylee were walking that night. it's at the very end of the video I just released. It's like only about a 15-second, 20-second clip, but I included it. I suggest you check it out. But that car is in other areas, coincidentally or not. It's all over the place that night. And it apparently is driven by allegedly a cop.
Look at the people right here. The shadows don't match. There's people all over. Adam, you're shady as fuck. Why you got blood on your on your sleeve? Huh? You were keeping an eye on them, partner, or what? I mean, come on, people. Look, the guy on the driver's seat, he has a little puppy on his stomach. There's a girl on her knees in front of the passenger. Zoom into it, people. Put filters, you'll see. She's bleeding too. And they have the people in the back, they have guns. I mean, number 9 is in the back too, behind the driver. Number 8 is behind the passenger. Look at the working girl. That's a hooker. Or a working girl, but you can tell. I ain't mad at you, girl. Get your money. Look at the girl wearing the 8. I mean, she's wearing the 8 jersey, the one on the red backpack. I mean, come on. Look at all this. Look at what's going on. I mean, look at how, I mean, see the number 9s, you flip them around, and he has the 2 on his shoulder too, 666. The 8 and yourself, yourself stands as a 1. Look at the phone. I mean, yourself counts as a 1, you're 1, and the 8, 18, 666, 612, 18. Come on. 330 Venmos, 2 of them. 330, right? 6. I mean, $6, the whatever, the account they opened, the GoFundMe, whatever. $6. Come on. I mean, 330, 6. And the GoFundMe 666. Come on. You guys gotta I mean, it's all these are pre-K codes, look at the girl, how anxious she is. They're coming already. They know they're coming. He's gonna give her the keys. Look, go fucking, get the car ready, whatever, or whatever. And I mean, they're in 2 cars, obviously. And I mean, they're gonna go and I don't know, do what. They're gonna come back right now. As soon as they're coming back, here, look at the Grubhub footage. You'll hear the alarm locking right there, dude. And then they walk up. Look at them. They know they're about to roll up. I mean, the plan's on. I mean, the people in the little gray SUV where they're walking, what'd you tell Adam? They were right there. They were right there with these fools. I mean, this got dropped off and all that, and they know they're on their way.
Number 9.
Look, he's checking. Oh, they're rolling up already. Look.
So he was in the Linda Lane footage at 12. The footage right before 1 o'clock that we went over, did the deep dive on, where we thought we allegedly saw a large knife. Number 9.
Happens. Oh shit! Something, I think they got something in the car that the girls don't want to drive with or whatever, because they're gonna take it, or I don't know what. They're gonna go probably scout, and then hey, go get this fucking strap. These fucking girls, they might fucking do some dumb shit and get caught up with it. You know how the cops are turning signal or whatever. I mean, they're riding dirty. I don't gotta get ready because I stay ready, partner. I mean, that's me. That's how I think. I mean, criminal mind. And all my crimes are against low-life gangbangers, the scum. I mean, you got the good ones and the bad ones.
Okay, I just want to say this makes sense now. This is why I think I am really drawn to these Rollo videos. He just said criminal mind. He's trying to give us a perspective of how somebody would think who... I love these perspective. It's kind of like what A.R. Hayes does. It's exactly what A.R. Hayes has done with his channel. And I think that they have so much to offer to this community. But it's the first time I've heard Rollo say that. That's pretty cool. So again, about speculation, it's not about saying this is what happened or this is, it's somebody speculating. It's looking at all angles. And so, yeah, I'll shut up.
This guy, I mean, he came from the same bar that the girls were at. Look how he's gonna look back right now. And look who's gonna walk up right away. As soon as we look at Jack K and the other guy. Well, as soon as they walk up, who walks up? Look, see how the other guy turned around? Look, the sweater, look. He's looking look, saw that? Come on. You saw how as soon as he was all turning, the girls walked up? Now look at, hey, I want a Mads. Jack K, look, I want a Mad, he says. go and listen to the footage. I want to Matt. Maddie goes all happy. Hey, what's up? That's a homie. Yeah, bumping into the trash. The girl's a fat motherfucker too, you know. And not knowing this motherfucker had shady intentions, you know. I mean, hey, I'll give you a ride, you know. After like, what? You're just playing, you know, just talking. Yeah, don't trip. I will, you know. Like, all right, just don't say nothing. Keep it low. You know, she's not even trying to say nothing. She's like, yeah, you know, like she ain't trying to ditch her homegirl neither, you know. Like, fuck, you know. Well, the word is they left with him. I don't know. That's from what I remember at first, they left with Jack K. I didn't even know who was Jack K. You know what I mean? I figured all this shit out after. I'm like, why does this guy is the same guy in the footage at the apartments at 1228? Why is he in different clothing after, an hour after? Then I caught the knife and all that. Like, okay, now it makes sense. And like Doc says, he opened up the mailbox. What did he put in the mailbox? What, the knife? He obviously didn't want to take it in his apartment, right? Come on, you know? Like, this is, I mean, I ain't gonna fucking deceive you guys.
So I was able to get a pretty good timeline on Kaylee and Maddie the night of, from about 10:15 until shortly before 3 a.m.
Olivia Gonzalez says she discovered at least 6 calls from her sister Kaylee's phone between 2:26 and 2:52 made to a boyfriend in the early morning of November 13th.
What time did the body cam start? 2:53.
Is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about?
Look at all these hand signals, the waves, the rubbing of the jackets, the flashlight clickings, all that.
We're just doing alcohol enforcement and running
saw a
around here
hand,
across
the
the street.
wave, move to the side. Watch it every time it does that, move to the side each time.
CHI.
Watch it about to do it again because he's realizing the fucking the stabbings are going on over there behind the pole.
Okay. First name? Said, S-A-I-D, like said.
And like Saeed's eyes, how they glow in here. Stop it, stop it. How his eyes are like if he sees a cold soul.
2001. Like, how'd you pull that one off?
Lucky birthday, 9/11. Fucking 2001. Crazy.
You got a driver's license?
Yes, her is awesome and lucky. 9/11.
Which day is it through? Idaho.
Look at all the little hand signals.
I'm just gonna check if everything's good. Since they're not open, I'll let you know.
Move to the side.
So I get charged with anything?
No.
You know, the side, you know.
Appreciate it.
But it's just enough for me to stop, check, make sure you're 21, walking around here in public.
Oh, you mean I could still hold on to my unopened beer, officer? Oh, thank you. What a privilege.
Moscow
Like, what time
77,
they call
check
this?
one.
The Moscow 77, whatever.
No, let me run
That's
this through
the time
dispatch,
that,
make sure you're actually 21. Give me a fake birthday.
Rolo.
Not
It's gonna be a 2-part blast. Charles Henry Ida, King Henry, space.
The call
Adam
came in
Lincoln,
at
Ida,
2:55.
First of Said,
Something.
Sam
It
Ida,
should be 2:55, not
correction,
3:01.
Sam
But
Adam Ida David.
I'll show you why they
Noel,
changed it right now, or on the next
2001, North Idaho.
Pay attention to the sound of the jacket rubbing.
Yeah.
Look at all those clicks. Hear all these clicks, people. Little flashlight clickings and all that.
Yeah,
Look at
I think that's the first one I've seen.
We're gonna fast forward to right here.
Somewhere in this area. Don't run off on me.
Look at what's going on over there. I mean, it's the people that stage the bodies and all that. And then when he opens the door, trip out. Who's working? Dispatch. Look at that. Trip out on the car that passes by and picks people up, and how Rosie keeps trying to distract.
I'm not gonna say I didn't drink in college. I did, but I can go staggering around the middle
This
of
is
the
the car
road.
that picks up the people that
I'm
are
not saying you're a bad person or
behind
anything,
them.
but there's a way to do it, obviously, and there's a way
And
to
they're
do
right
it.
behind them, but obviously they were. The guy's all shaking, all scared as fuck, you know? Everything going on. And the motherfucker are just right here, you know? Like, and then he looks down at the fire, he has the puddle of blood, like, what the fuck? And then he looks to the right, he fucking sees the people stabbing him over there, and then he looks down, and then he looks at the car, and he sees the people inside, he's like, what the fuck's going on, I mean? Trip out. 993. Body language, people, come on, look at this fucking, the way he starts shaking and trembling, and his teeth click-clacking. Look at his body language, his reaction. That shit ain't normal. It's scary. It's all like you see. He has death in front of his eyes.
Can I just pause this? I want to tell you guys, I do have more to show you because Jeff in the chat has pointed that Google has quite a few pictures of the police measuring the tire tracks. So we're going to go over that afterwards.
I like, fuck, the homie leaving him to be here alone with these fools. I fuck. He don't even even remember his haircut or his eyes. All that shit is watch trip out. Now he sees a puddle of blood on the floor. He's like, what the fuck? Oh shit. And he look right. Like, down the stabbing and all that shit. And then the window. I'll trip on the phone vibrating, and every time it vibrates, like something happens. So when a kid's signing this ticket, Tesla looks to the where the actions are happening, and then that's two goes.
What state was your license out of Idaho?
There's a car that picked up the people that ran to the car behind them. They were right behind them. So they could test all the actions. Probably this.
While this is playing, you guys, I'm getting a couple things lined up in the background. The other thing I'm looking for, if anyone can tell me in the chat, and Pia, if you want to join me, if you just want to jump on, if anyone wants to join me, I can send you a link to the stream. Like I just figured, I don't know. Yeah, I'll send a link to the screen too in case anyone wants to join in. But what I'm looking for is, you guys were talking about Enon Harsh and the black SUV earlier. I can't find it anywhere. So if anyone knows where I can find that clip of Enon Harsh talking about how the SUV was creepy, I'd really like to show it in this footage. Please drop it in the chat. Thanks.
So it looks left, then right. Hey, look at Rosie. Now he forgets how to rip out a ticket. You nervous, partner? Remember the white top that Katie was wearing that morning? Now remember how Katie was found sitting down, looking down, slumped. I wonder why. Look at how she's right there laying against the fire hydrant, sitting down. Same position she was found. Fuck with me. We're not against Rolo's vision, but we are against these crooked cops. It's a Rolo Motor Show.
What's happening?
It's a Rolo Motor Show.
¿Dónde está la
It's a
mota?
Rolo Motor Show. It's a Rolo Motor Show.
This guy, he's so
This is a
funny.
mic drop. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna deceive you people. I ain't never gonna try to make you look a certain way or a certain whatever. I'm just calling out what I see, what it is. And I mean, fuck the bullshit, I mean. So peace out. And this is part one. Wait for what's coming, because I'm a shark. So you don't know how to swim, then you bomb the drizz out.
A new law that allows police to charge drug dealers with murder if a user dies from an overdose is being applied to a woman accused of buying drugs from a dealer. Grapevine police arrested.
So I'm talking about, so when we were talking about the Linda Lane footage, somebody brought up one of the most suspicious things, and Pia was talking about it too, who's an excellent sleuth and creator. So is Jeff, this black SUV. And then Pia mentioned that, I believe it was Pia mentioned that Enon Harsh brought it up as well. And he said that it was creepy. So while this is playing, I'm going to try and look for it. But again, if somebody knows where that clip of Enon saying how creepy that black SUV is, I'd really like to get it on. I'd really like to document it on this live stream. I'm going to keep playing.
And charged Cammie Ludwig this week after her boyfriend's November overdose in a Grapevine home. Police say she purchased fentanyl-laced pills, Xanax, cocaine, and more from dealers in Fort Worth and Louisiana. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager is in Grapevine with the story. Peyton.
Steve, and Grapevine police say that Cammie Ludwig purchased fentanyl pills from a dealer in Fort Worth multiple times. In fact, police say the night before Nolan's death, she traveled to that Fort Worth home and then back here to Grapevine. An arrest warrant was issued on Friday for murder. Police tell us she turned herself in yesterday alongside her attorney. North Texas attorney and former Tarrant County judge William Shane.
You got to give Rulo the credit for putting together that video. I mean, to edit that together takes so much time and work. So I appreciate that he's trying to put his truth out there in some way and bring some receipts to it. Because a lot of people just talk in the chat and they never try to bring some receipts. But at least he does. And I think that as Rolo makes no more videos, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with on YouTube. He has really good charisma in his videos. Apparently, I can't stop talking to him.
Nolan died of a fentanyl overdose in November. Nolan's girlfriend at the time, 35-year-old Cammie Ludwig, now faces a murder charge nearly 3 months after his death. A new state law went into effect in September, creating a criminal offense of murder for manufacturing or supplying fentanyl that results in death.
They found evidence that she sought out the pills, she bought them, and she brought them back to.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Sorry, that other video started playing and I do apologize. So I'm bringing up now what Jeff and I were talking about. I'm probably going to get a copyright claim for that. That sucks. So let's bring up this. This is Linda Lane, I believe. So these are the tire tracks I was talking about. Yeah, right here. Woman who lives 3 miles from the scene of Idaho murder says. So Jeff, if there was a different picture you were talking about, this is going to tell a lot. So why do we care about the tire marks? Let's just talk about, oh, there's another one I just saw. Hold on. Right here. This is even better. So why do we care about the tire tracks? So there's a couple things that can be gathered as far as evidence from tire tracks. Number one, the actual make of the tire, the makeup of the tire, they can put forensics can basically make a fingerprint of all the elements that are in that tar, and they can determine basically what batch the tire came from. Even they can narrow it down to sometimes even the store it was sold in, depending on how many tires was sold. Also, the pattern is unique and it can limit everything down to a smaller group. And then they can tell different things about the speed if someone sped off, or so there's lots of things they can tell from the tires. And I'm gonna bring you guys to Google with me while I look at this, because I was unable to find the video, but we're gonna look for it together. Okay, so it's Enon Harsh, and I'll just do black SUV and see what comes up. Okay, it looks like Bubbly's got something, although I don't know if Bubbly wants us sharing her work, so let me just see if somebody else has it. Okay, here's another one from Watching the Watchers, and I like this channel a lot. So let's watch this.
And then you said something about like it may have had weird plates.
Okay, so
yeah, it looked like it was out of town plates.
So obviously this, you can tell from the voice. Obviously this video originally comes from Truth and Transparency. Let's just listen.
Could you place the town? Can you place this? You mean out of state plates, right?
Yeah, it was. I can't say exactly, but the scenery was seemed kind of like deserty, like plateauy, whatever.
Arizona.
Like in Arizona?
Yeah, like in Arizona.
Reno.
Or,
Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada or Arizona are the two ones that bring to mind. But I know there's other similar areas that kind of look like that. But yeah, those are the two that pops up. I would say most likely either Arizona or Nevada plates.
Yeah. And then
Okay, I don't want to give you guys a bunch of dead air while I look for the video, but it's in my notes, and it's something that I will look deeper into and bring you more information where I'm not wasting your time trying to find it on the fly. So let's get to the next thing I really wanted to tell you guys about, which was updates to the case. And we do have a court date coming up. I'm going to post it as soon as I'm done with this video. I'll post it. I will be covering this live. It's 1 p.m. on the 28th. Okay.
Kohberger on trial. Another motion hearing in the case against the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students. Nonstop Local's John Webb live in studio with us tonight with some new developments in the legal maneuvering in the state versus Bryan Kohberger. Good evening, John.
Yeah, Sean, good evening. The hearing later this month is expected to tackle key issues for both sides, including where and when this trial could be held. The court will be responding to the defendant's motion to allow certain experts and investigators to view genetic genealogy material. Judge John Judge also expecting the state and defense to be ready for arguments on a change of venue, deadlines for discovery cutoff, expert disclosure, and another deadline for filing any pre-trial motions. Judge Judge also hoping to schedule a date for the trial. You recall at the last hearing, prosecution argued to have the trial this summer and defense wanted at least another year. The murders happened 15 months ago on this day. In court, our Guy Tannenbaum seeing the Gonsalves family visibly upset about the trial not being scheduled. They took to social media after that last hearing saying, quote, "We have no words." Hopefully some answers for the families here soon. This hearing is scheduled for February 28th at 1 o'clock. It'll, of course, be held in Latah County Court and will be live streamed. Sean.
All right, thank you for that update to John Webb reporting.
The new Ask Pasco app is now available.
Okay. I wish I didn't have to keep myself in this. Oh, I have someone here. Hi, Rock Chalk. Welcome to the live stream. How are you today?
I am great. How are you, hon?
Good. Thanks for showing up.
This is my first time here. I'm enjoying it. Sorry, I just woke up and I was at a basketball game last night, so I screamed loud.
Well, I hope your team won.
And we lost by one. High school basketball. But it was fun.
I'm sure it was. So you've been listening to the live stream today. Of all the things we were talking about, what provoked you to come onto the live chat? What's on your mind today?
Just giving you company.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, you've heard some of the Linda Lane footage we've heard. Now that I'm talking to someone live, just what are your thoughts after you heard the scream, the echoes? What are your thoughts about the sound and what we're hearing? Do you think that it's close up or far away?
I think it's pretty close up.
So potentially maybe coming from inside the apartment building?
Or at the parking lot.
Or in the parking lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could go either way too.
There's so much out there. And I mean, Jeff has really good footage. And some footage has been manipulated. But I hear so much in them videos.
What do you find? What minute or what timestamp do you find the most fascinating about Linda Lane? Is it something we've shown now or something that we could show? I mean, we're just trying to start conversation here. So
I think all of it. I like all of it. I'd have to go back and look at my notes here and see exactly what time. But especially where the screams are, I think all of it's fascinating.
I do too. Have you seen the let's see. So we did one. So we've covered a few things on the Linda Lane footage. We covered Rolo Moto talking about right before 1 a.m. And then we've gone to the one thing we haven't covered, which would be next on the timestamp, would be the 2 a.m. Have you ever listened to the 2 a.m. timestamp on Linda Lane?
Yes, I watched Tommy Once Upon a Crime Time, and he really gets in depth with that too.
Well, since I have you here, what if we pulled up Jeff Channels and took a look at the 2 a.m. timestamp? I think it's a huge trending topic right now. Would you want to stick around while I pulled that up?
Oh, absolutely. I was also going to tell you, I see Jeff in your chat. Maybe if you drop the StreamYard, I love Strange. She's there too. He might want to come up too, or Strange, or True Crime Cult. It's up to you, hon.
I'm putting it back in. So you guys, I'm kind of behind on the chat because I don't have Gia with me today. But if anyone wants to join the chat, Pia, Jeff, and I also heard Jeff say earlier that he's been banned from some chat. I find that shocking. I've never heard Jeff make any sort of rude comment whatsoever. He always adds to the conversation. He has a different perspective than a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that we dismiss it. It should sharpen our sword if we disagree with him, not dismiss him. So I just want to bring that up because I felt bad when he said that. Oh, and we've got another guest. Let me pull this through. We have, oops.
Stage.
Oh, I got Idaho 4 case discussion. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us. Now, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? I don't recall. Is this the name of your one Idaho 4 case discussion? What's the first name of the person I'm with?
It's Robert.
Oh, Robert. Good to see you. How are you feeling?
I'm doing okay. I just woke up like 10 minutes ago.
We were just going to pull up Linda Lane footage at 2 a.m. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No. We went over some Steve G interviews last night in my live, and Rock can verify. We found something very interesting in one of the interviews. Did we not?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Talk to us about it.
All right. There was one part in one of his later interviews with News Nation, and he slips up. He went to call the white Elantra a white Sonata, but he caught himself and then just called it the white car. Rock noticed it first, so I went back and replayed it a couple of times, and he like legit says white Sonata, and then he retracts it and then just says white car.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's very true. And so I asked Robert, I said, I've caught Christy catching her stuff too. Like they're supposed to stay on a script and they forget and start to say something that might be true. So tomorrow, if you want to join, Robert, I'm sure he would love to have you. He's going to go over as many of the Steve and Gonzalez, all the family videos, the interviews, and see what else we can catch.
Well, I'd love to join you. Depends on what time is your live stream tomorrow, Robert?
I'm going live about 7 p.m.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can
Central
definitely.
time. Central time.
Central time. Okay, so
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be around 8 my time. Yeah, I can definitely make it for that. And I rock chalk. You bring up something really interesting. I heard on, I believe it was Olivia's channel the other day, and I just haven't had a chance to bring it up. Just about scripts, and there's an incident where there's a Steve and his wife are doing an interview, and they're talking about retrieving Kaylee's items from the house. And there's this one apprehensive moment where they both kind of look at each other with a side eye. And what she's talking about is she goes picking up some of the stuff, including Murphy's crate. And then they look at each other and go, yeah, Murphy's crate. And that just put me back for a minute, because I was like, okay, well, why was Murphy crated for such a crazy amount of time? Like, it just, I wonder why would they hang up on that one word? And we know Murphy was in another room. It's never settled with me well that Kaylee and Maddie were in a room and the dog was locked in another room. Of course, I don't know the situation. I don't know how small the house was. I don't know, but it always was weird. A dog person, you'd think they'd at least want their dog crate with their dog in them next to them when they're sleeping. But I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying it seems a little off. What are your thoughts?
That's why we decided to try to go over all the interviews we can find and just go over them again, because when Steve said the white Sinatra and stopped, it really caught me. And there was something else that was caught in there too. Can't remember what it was. But sometimes you can go over this 1,000 times and still catch new stuff. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is.
especially when they were standing out in front of the police station. We went over that last night too, and you could tell Steve was a very passionate person over what the police was doing, and it just seems like that Christie was was like a stalwart, and she kept telling Steve to calm down. Oh, and that in that same interview about the car last night, Steve G made the comment that they're collecting more data on another level for more investigators, and we're trying to figure out what he meant by that. And he said it will all come out in the trial.
So he said that they're collecting more data from more investigators. Is that what you said?
No, they're collecting more data from more individuals to open up more investigators.
More witnesses.
And for more witnesses.
Yes, it did say that. That was the other thing.
And he sounded like it was going to happen in the future, or it had happened after the PCA.
Happening now is what it sounded like.
It's happening now. He said it will all come out in the trial.
Wow. I mean, I know we're not supposed to know, but it just sets you back. It's like, what do we know what do we know and we not know? I hate to speculate on anything right now. I want to bring something up for us to talk about while we're here. I'm going to bring up that Linda Lane, not to jump around subjects here. If you go ahead and post your channel handle, Robert, in the live chat, we'll hold it up so people know where we're going to do the live stream tomorrow night, okay? Just so people know where to go. And we're going to go to Jeff H's channel now. all these creators that you see, they put so much time and so much heart into their work. So I highly encourage everyone to go check out all of these folks after we're done with the live stream. I'm just going to put a cover up while I pull this footage up. Hold on.
Hey, Swamp.
Yeah.
Swamp. Is that what you like to be called? What would you like to be called, ma'am?
Oh, Kiki or Swan. Anything you call me is fine.
Oh, yeah, Kiki, you're right. I was in a live with you the other day watching. Have you seen the Paramount series?
Not yet. Well, I'm gonna take our overlay down because hold on, because they can actually hear us talking, and I want them to be part of the conversation. Let me turn off the music. So I haven't seen the Paramount special, but I want to talk about it. So please tell me your thoughts.
I have a good friend, Sipa, and he sets up Discords, and he set up a Discord for Robert. And today at noon in the cinema area, we are going to show all 3 episodes of the Paramount Plus. If you're interested, I put it in the back chat. I know this is your show, and I would never disrespect you. I love you, what I've seen of you. And I did put it in the back chat. If you're interested, you ought to come check it out. A lot of people don't, because sometimes people start talking about other people, and that's not cool. You new creators, I think it's great that you're all working together. I loved your sister-in-law too, by the way. But anyway, if you guys are interested, you don't have to stick around the Discord. You can join the Discord and leave if that's your cup of tea. But we are going to show the 3 Paramount. There's a lot of people overseas, and you probably have some guests too that has not got to see it. I'm sure Robert, I'm not trying to take over, but I'm sure Robert would love to have any of you. I'll let Robert speak. But I did put it in the back chat for you, sweetheart.
Would it be okay?
Oh yeah,
Would it be okay?
I would love for Swamp Rose to join the Discord so she can watch the Paramount Plus.
Oh, it definitely. If I can watch the whole thing, I will. But I definitely will be joining. Would it be okay if I put that in the live chat so others can join too?
Yes, yeah, that's okay.
Okay, let me post it right now. I just copied it. So you guys, I'm posting that Discord. If anyone wants to talk about the Paramount case, they're again showing all the episodes this afternoon, not that long from now, in about 30 minutes. So please check that out if you're interested. And before we begin,
I'm sorry, Swamp.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 10:26 now, Central, and we're doing it at noon.
Oh, an hour and
I
a
should have
half.
put that in there. I'm old and my fingers get tired of typing. So it's
I'm
about
gonna-
10:30 now. So about an hour and a half.
Is it 12 o'clock Central Time? Did I get that right? I'm just going to type it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for.
And we have we also have an Idaho 4 discussion room in my Discord, and there's a lot of evidence that one of the Discord members have put in that room to go over.
Thank you so much. That's great. I mean, it's really one of the biggest trending subjects right now. I haven't watched it yet, so I didn't want to speak on it. Thank you for sharing that. Have you folks seen it yet? I'm assuming you two have seen the interview if you're posting it, or are you watching it for the first time?
I've seen it like 4 times.
This will be my first time watching it.
Personally. Yeah.
Okay. I want to know the one thing that I'm like I've heard about it that is that they talk about internet sleuthing, and that the question they're posing is, does it harm the case more than it helps the case? And I just want to
I don't think so.
To you two. I would like to know your thoughts. Yeah, go ahead, Rock. Please tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, I have a Discord too, and that's where we started watching it at. I'll tell you, people get on to WSU Cam, but we would not know a lot of what we know right now if it wasn't for her. Now, we wouldn't know that there was people that gathered before the police came. We wouldn't know about the texts or the Snapchats. I will say in the Paramount Plus, Olivia does an interview, and it does show WSU Kim, her face and everything, and her talking. Very
Really?
interesting. Yes. It's in the second episode. There's 3 episodes. One's like 55 minutes, one's like 54 minutes. Each of them is under an hour, and they will be played back to back today. And like I said, it's something that a lot of people can't get overseas to watch. Some people don't have Paramount Plus as a subscription. And this is a way that you can go in and watch it. Now, there is a cinema in his Discord, in Robert's Discord, where the back chat will work, but we do mute everybody because if people were able to talk while it was going, you wouldn't get to watch it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So we can engage while we're watching it and without even disturbing it. That's great. I love the way you've set
Right,
that
in
up.
back chat. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, one of my members, Nina Kelly, she has put a lot of information in the Idaho court case discussion tab in my Discord. I was going through it last night, and there's pictures of Kaylee and Maddie that no one has ever seen.
Oh, really? I can't wait to hear some of this stuff. So
Yeah, there's pictures of Kaylee and Maddie on a yacht, and they're in bikinis, and they're standing next to this one woman who I've never seen before, and Rock, was it you that told me that might have been their handler or something? That blonde woman they were standing next to. You there, Rock? She's muted.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, Robert, I'm so sorry.
So,
what did you think of that blonde woman they were standing next to in that picture?
I didn't know who it was either. What he's trying to tell you, Kiki, is in his Discord, we put a Idaho 4, and it's for people tent. And there's this lady named Kelly. She's super sweet, but sometimes in the chat, she gets overwhelmed and there's no way to put receipts. So in the Idaho 4 file, she's got like 500 pictures. She's got a lot of stuff I've never, ever seen. So when you do come to watch the Discord and watch, please take your chance and go down and look at the Idaho 4 because there might be things that you guys want to take from it and investigate more. She's got a lot in there. And if you got something you want to add, please add it. But she's put so much in there. I'll be honest with you. I've been busy with basketball. I personally have not had a chance to and really vet it and look at all of it. But the pictures are not photoshopped. I will tell you that.
and her name is Kelly when we go looking for her, when we go in there.
Hold on, I'll give you the exact name because that
It's Nina _Kelly. Nena _ KELLEY. No, KELLYE.
KELLYE. Okay. Thank you for sharing. I mean, it's just so generous of you as a creator to share some of your sources. I love when we work together. It's what made me feel so comfortable and with the true crime community when my podcast started going this direction. So I just want to say thank you for sharing. We really appreciate it.
And my new avatar that you see on the screen, Nina Kelly designed it for me.
I like it. I loved the last avatar, but this one's even better because it's brighter. It's easier to tell what you're looking at. Good job. Good job, Nina, if you're watching. But we'll make sure to tell her. So back to the sleuthing. So could you tell us, Robert, because you've seen, I'm sorry, Robert hasn't seen it. Rock has seen this episode of Paramount Plus. Could you tell us some of the true crime creators that we are familiar with on YouTube that we're going to be seeing in this Paramount Plus?
Yes, Rory.
Dagos, Tommy Oliver, or not Tommy Oliver, Tommy Jude, and who else, Rock?
Really?
On that, it starts out with Olivia, Chronicles from Olivia, and Bullhorn Betty. They do a lot of it. There's some clips of Rory, several clips of Rory. There is just some brief things of Dago. It's basically the panel. They show some clips of Roy's panel, and there's a lot of people that I didn't recognize that is from TikTok and Twitter.
Okay. Well, I have Brat Nortonson, I think, is one of them. We played a video from her earlier.
Yes, she is on there. Yes.
I'm trying to think who else. JRL Investigates. Did you name him? I think.
Oh, yes. Yes. He was on there 3 or 4 times. Absolutely. There was quite a few, actually. Quite a few. I believe they're going to do more series. So, heck, you never know. It might be Strange and you, sister-in-law, and Robert.
Yeah, maybe. What about your channel? When are you going to start one, Rock?
You know, I don't know. And it won't be Idaho 4. My friends are just trying to get me to do one. And I'm just a friendly person. I love helping you creators.
Now, Rock, I don't want to get off subject, but I remember your voice, and I think your avatar was the same. But I remember during the Donna Cross case, I believe you went live and you went there. Am I mistaken?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I had friends from Arkansas that went boots on the ground to that. I was asked from a person who at the time I thought was my friend to cover that story. And she did not want to go up because she had been on Detective John's and he knew her voice and da-da-da-da. So I did that for her. And it kind of turned out to be a bad thing because I got attacked over it from her. She had asked me to do it for her. And I don't want to get into that drama. But yes, it was for the Donna I thing. It was about the missing lady. And I did have friends that was boots on the ground. And we were trying to find her. That's what it amounted to.
Well, I just have to say, like, oh, good. Jeff's here with us too. I'm going to add him to the stage. Welcome, Jeff. Before we go talking to Jeff, I just want to say I commend you for your coverage of that, because I watched that case break live in our true crime community while Pia was on a live stream with Tommy. And it was seriously within it must have been within 12 hours. I watched all of these online sleuths kind of like you just, work hard to just, while the case was hot, while that first 48 hours was, that critical 48 hours was there, you guys were there. And I felt so good to be part of the community, even though I had nothing to contribute. I just want to say even though it was such a tragedy, I could feel the strength of this community. And I want to give you some credit because I know how hard you jumped right into action. So just want to say that.
Right. Thank you. And that's one thing about this community. You can talk about Idaho 4 all day long, and I get it, and I love it. But when something like that comes out, Kiki, it's very important, because if we could have found her, she would not have froze to death. And it takes getting it out there for people to see it, and mainstream wasn't covering it.
Yeah, well, God bless you. Thank you. And
Jeff,
I'm glad you're here today so I can tell you that in person. And Jeff, I want to welcome you for coming up onto the panel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I knew you would say something like that when I put food in my mouth. Talk a little longer with Rock Shock.
Well, I see that somebody hit that mute button. I should take it as a little bit of a hint. But either way, I just want to say thank you for coming up. And we were thinking about bringing the Linda Lane footage up, particularly the 2 a.m., just to start some conversation. Would you be interested in reviewing some Linda Lane footage with the other 3 of us here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And I was thinking
around that 2 a.m. and there's some strange stuff that I really think it's that kind of thing that caused the Linda Lane footage to get leaked to the public. Because it's my understanding that Kane Francetic, the landlord at 1330 Linda Lane, had the footage, released it to the police. I heard somebody mention maybe gave a copy to Steve G. I'm not sure if that's true. But then I think in sharing it with some friends, I think that's what happened. I think one of the friends thought, just like we do, we hear something, we think, oh my gosh, this is maybe different than what the police are telling us, and maybe the public needs to know about this. I can't prove any of that, but I just wonder if that's how it ended up being out into the public. It's just the reaction of friends or people close or whoever managed to get a copy of it. They were just like, no, this has to go out to the public. And I just wish the same thing would happen with that light bulb camera, because the light bulb camera in combination with the Linda Lane footage. I mean, we see the car come in, we see it on Linda Lane. It's like all the question, is it a Chrysler 300? Is it a DeLorean from, with Doc Brown driving it? All those questions will be answered.
Yeah, no, I do think that there is better footage too. I totally agree. And if I remember correctly, when it comes to the Linda Lane footage, if I'm not mistaken, how it originally happened was it was given to a creator because they want, like you're saying, there was somebody concerned who wanted this information out. They showed it to another sleuth just to show it to them. And it was that sleuth who actually leaked it. And it could have been a clicks and views thing, or maybe they thought they were doing it for justice. But yeah, I do believe that's how it all transpired. Is somebody wanted somebody to have this documented, like you said.
I do remember when it first came out, it was like there were two places you could go to see it. I know, was it? Well, I can't remember. Maybe it was at Powerpuffs 3. I think I got my footage from Veritas. I don't know how you pronounce that. Aquitas. I know it's spelled. I think spelling it, I always think After Effects. So it's AE, and then it's the word quit, and then AS. Aquitas.
Equitas. The only reason I know how to say it is because around here, I'm from the Northeast, and we all love the movie The Boondock Saints from years ago, and they had Veritas, Equitas tattooed on their trigger fingers. If you've never seen
How are you pronouncing it? Equitas?
Oh gosh, and again, this is more than it's like 20 years ago. Veritas Equitas.
That sounds right. I'll go with that.
So
if anybody corrects me in the future, I'll say, hey, go talk to Kiki. I trained under her.
It's not going to give much credibility to you, but you can use that. You can drop my name. All right, so we got the 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. here. And Jeff, since you posted this on your channel, let's pose the question to you. When we hear the scream, what time? I believe it's a later timestamp. What timestamp is that? Because we've got an hour footage right here. Where should we zone in on for these sounds?
You know what? I started a project of in the description of each of my videos, I tried to put timestamps of important stuff, and I didn't really finish. I don't know if there's.
Nope, you got some.
There you go. Yeah, a male scream, a woman's scream is heard 21:48. Yeah, so you can click on those and it'll take you right to those points in the video. But you can see I didn't really get much further than that. I think some of the other videos have a lot more timestamps. Is there a name for those timestamps? I've called them quick links. I've called them timestamps.
I call them timestamps, but I'm just, it's my guess. I'm just guessing as well. So let's start with this first timestamp. It's someone, maybe male, screaming, somebody's lost, or something with 4 syllables. Here we go. I think somebody, hold on, I'm going to mute you guys. All right, here we go. All right, next we're going to look at 21:48. A woman's scream is heard. Good God. I'm going to play this again, but I would like to know, this does not sound like it's coming from within the building. Love to know you guys' opinions too. You can. I'd love to know any of your thoughts right now. Do you think that's coming from within the building?
It sure does sound close. Yeah.
It
You know,
sounds
the
like
thing
they're
that-
saying there's a fight. There's a fight.
I agree, Robert. It sounds like it's coming from outside the building. That's a ominous. Yeah.
I'm surprised the people that are making these sounds haven't heard this footage, being from the area and there that night, and haven't said, "Oh, that's me. I remember saying that." This is, and you know, if that's you and you're watching Swamp's show right now, just come on the show. say, yeah, that was me. Of course, you shouldn't send out an invite like that, because you'll get like 10 people saying, "Yeah, that's me."
Nobody
You know it.
ever
A lot of people
wants to go on.
insert. Sorry.
No, go on.
Say, Jeff, you're right. A lot of people insert themselves, and just FYI, there's a couple people right now that like to come and jump on panel and do a little craziness. So, Kiki, I know you pay attention, but maybe watch out before you let some people up, because you're liable to get some pants dropped. You're liable to get some gay porn played. Please be very careful on who you let up. It's
You talk
pretty
about
rapid
Tony
right
Martinez.
now. Well, I didn't say it, but I've got a story. Jeff knows the story because he was on that panel, but or in the chat. But there's a few of them, and all they want to do is try to destroy your channel, and not yours in general. But they're running pretty rapid right now, and once they post strange things, and please just be very careful who you let on StreamYard.
Thank you for saying that. I know I'm not as I should be more cautious, and I rarely do open the panel up. I guess I saw so many wonderful talent here. I wanted to invite people up, but thank you for the forewarning.
I can vouch
absolutely
for Robert, but that Jeff H guy, I don't know. Watch out. I think he's got his pants on, but who knows?
And I really appreciate you inviting me up, Kiki. Yeah, I'll watch your channel. Yeah, almost every day whenever I can catch it when I'm awake. But last night on my live, I had an awesome panel. I had Rock Chalk, I had AR Hayes, and I had Sophie, and we went over a lot in that live, and it went like almost 3 hours.
Now, I'm glad to hear AR is still covering the case, because I was watching a live stream the other day and he made a comment that he wasn't going to cover it anymore. And I just haven't been back on his channel to check. So I'm really, really good to hear that AR is still on the case, because we need his opinion. He's got such a unique perspective.
Yeah, he said that he's going to step back just a little bit, and he's going to help other content creators. He said if he can help as many people as he can, then he's happy.
Kiki, may I say something, please?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I keep muting because I have two big old German Shepherds, Smith and Wesson, and it's very active outside, and I don't want them barking. But anyway, AR is friends with Kara too, and I for one, I couldn't even. I'm a parent, I got 11 grandkids, and I just could not even imagine. And she was estranged from her kids, and then her daughter gets murdered, and now she's in prison. And AR is covering, like I said, they're friends. If you're a fan of AR, like Robert said, he is on panels and talk and stuff. But one thing he is covering really good right now is Kara in prison and what she's going through, and if you want to write her and different things. I don't know if any of your people in the chat are interested in that, but you was asking about AR. That is one thing that he's covering that I really.
Look, that's such a wonderful point, you guys. If you want to support AR, he has a way that you can actually do something to help one of the victims, which is supporting their mother, who's a victim as well. And if I didn't realize that, she was currently in custody or in prison. And now that you said that, as a human, I want to write her a letter and just tell her that people are thinking about her. So let's do what AR suggests, because just like Rock said, if he's found a new way that you can support as a follower of the true crime community, somebody in this case, go visit AR's channel and look for further instructions. I know I'm definitely going to, now that you told me that. It's hard to follow every creator super closely. There's so many wonderful people. So I miss some of these things sometimes. Thank you for sharing that, Rock.
Yeah, and Kia, he
He's
would be
going to be
glad.
posting it in his community tab, how to ride her and some of the rules. He doesn't want anyone sending her money because he's afraid that she could use that to purchase drugs in prison. So he's going to be posting on his community tab a way to get a hold of her and the rules on how to get a hold of her.
So you're not supposed to send her money for commissary at all? Like, or just not money?
Kia, Robert, can I interrupt for just a minute, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would suggest, and he would do it, is have AR on your panel, because he has the reasons, because there's actually more drugs in the prisons than there probably is out of the prisons. And if you start buying her, putting money on her commissary and stuff, she could buy things and trade them for drugs. And I know he would be glad to jump on your panel. And I feel like it's his story to tell, because it's firsthand. Sometimes when we get third hand, even me, I'm trying to tell you that story the best I can, but I don't want to add anything to it. I don't want to misrepresent. And I'll shoot AR an email right now and let him know that you're live if he wants to drop by. I'd like me to.
Oh my gosh. Please do. Thank you. If he, I would be honored to have AR on this panel. And now that you've said that, if he isn't available, I am going to reach out to him, because that's an important angle that I feel like is underreported. And
Kara, certain creator out there that has really dog care, and it really, really bugs me bad. I feel sorry for all the parents, and I don't believe that they are being told. Most of the time victims are really up to date on the case, and in this case, it's not happening. And in Kara's case, she's been on the run pretty much the whole time. So she also, what we were saying, like, she only knows what you YouTube creators were putting out there, and that's sad. And not only that, this particular creator said, "Oh, she always puts Mom of the Year." Not well. I'm sorry that Kara has a drug problem. I'm sorry from her daughter, Jasmine Steele, and Xana is gone. She's never going to be able to fix that ever. Even when she gets clean, she's never going to get over that. Me personally, I'm, I have a medical marijuana card in Colorado. That's my choice. But addiction's very, very hard to get away from. And I just feel for Kara so badly, because she did not have a good relationship with Xana at the time she passed. And that saddens me horribly. So that's something that is going to eat Kara up for a very long time. Probably the rest, not just losing her daughter.
God forbid that something terrible should happen to any of us, and the parts of our lives that are the most painful decide to get splattered across the front, pages or all over the internet. God forbid that ever happens to us. And I just wish that the world would just look, or our culture would look at itself and see how rough we are in each other. I mean, you just you can put Kara aside and just look at when you go to the store. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance if I'm going to get somebody with who's nasty when they check me out. And we have a lot of immigrants to this country, and a lot of people, tourists to this country. And when they experience our nasty culture, they interpret it as us being Zionists, or as Americans being Zionists and stuff like that. So I hate that our culture even does that to people, but just the lack of remorse, the lack of sensitivity, and she'll never be able to change what's going on. But just the fact that people would be anything but sensitive to her is just beyond me. So we support her.
It's sad.
Watching, we support you.
It definitely saddens me.
Yeah, me too. I maybe I don't have the right words.
Too.
Share your sentiment. And then we got a couple comments. I feel for Xana's mom and what she's going through. She is an addict, and no way in this world she would help make it better for her, and nothing in this world. Nonsense. Okay, so I think if you give and give freely, if someone wants to send money to Kara as a grown woman, so to assume she will trade it for drugs, it's not none of our business. Only Kara can. That's a tough one. I'll tell you, I know women who have volunteered in the women's prisons, who work for my church, and it's awful. Like, they hardly have enough for a cup to hold their water in, let alone toilet paper, let alone. So it's hard when you hear, but I would trust AR, whatever he has to say. If he's my connection, I'll trust what he has to say.
Yeah, he would know about addiction, and I mean, it's just like somebody that's really got a problem with being overweight. Like I'm going to just leave these donuts here. Now, don't the temptation might just be too strong so. I mean, that's why people go into rehab. They separate themselves from the temptations. They learn a new lifestyle. I mean, my son's mom was addicted to crack, and she went through like 3 different programs until she finally found one that really, well, it's either that she found one or that it was finally, the person themselves has to say, okay, I'm tired of living this way and I'm going to turn it around. And a lot of times that means hitting rock bottom. And when you hit bottom, the only way to go is back up. So, and I'm thankful that today she and her husband are like running AA meetings and are just an inspiration to me, inspiration to my son, and just to like her community. I mean, it's really awesome. So I've got one that has survived. I've got an uncle who took his own life from an addiction to heroin. He's the one who taught me to play guitar, so that one really hurts. I mean, we're supposed to be playing guitar today still. He's got a twin brother, and I think about it. It's like, I mean, they'd be obviously the same age, and it's like, Gary is still supposed to be here. This is just, and it's so sad because the night that he took his life, he had his girlfriend call me and left a message with my mom, said, hey, tell Jeff to watch this. There's a show on tonight about drug addiction. And it was some network TV show. And then the next day in school, in geometry class, I got called to the office. And I can still remember Mom walking with me. Yeah, I don't know why she parked so far away, but it seemed like the walk took forever. And I could tell she was upset by something. And I was like, Mom, what is going on? She said, she wasn't saying much. I said, is it grandma? Is it something happened to grandma? Never in a million years would I have thought, like, Gary's gone. And unfortunately too, it was and I'll stop here because I'm, but it turned out to be a double suicide because his girlfriend came out of the shower, found him, called the police. And then as the police were coming up the stairs, they heard a gunshot and they found her. She had just shot herself. So I lost both Gary and Becky that day. And, it's extremely, extremely painful and sad. And so when it comes to addiction, it's like, you don't have control of yourself. The only thing yourself knows how to do is destroy yourself. And it's a shame. You have to learn how to like deny the things that your body wants, and your body wants to, we just went to Dunkin' Donuts. Like I said, I was just eating food. I mean, there's a box of donuts. I would love to eat the whole damn thing, but that's my body. And then my brain and my wisdom says, don't do that.
Kiki, I would like to say something when I have a chance, please.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Sorry, Jeff, I don't want to interrupt. To your chat and to you, I want you guys to know that's why I said please go through AR, because there is a lot of drugs in the prison system. Listen, my husband was a U.S. Marshal 33 years. I was a state investigator 25. I do know the drugs are there. But when you're talking about hate mail, let me tell you how the prison system works along with no letters get to any inmate without being read by the staff. So your comment about you disagree about people writing, Kara, because of hate mail, I can promise you, I can guarantee you that there will be no hate, Kara, because everything is done through the staff, Nothing goes directly to any inmate ever. It's been set up that way for over 50 years. So I politely disagree with that statement. No offense.
No, I might have, maybe I misspoke because I wasn't, if I did say something, I was certainly didn't mean it in the context to discourage someone from writing her. And I totally agree with what you said. I had a friend serving at Valley Street in New Hampshire years back, and I wrote a letter, and inadvertently, I must have, they confiscated the letter because they said it smelled like perfume, and they confiscated it and said it was contraband. I was like, what?
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was trying to say, because you had a comment in your chat from somebody that highly disagrees about us sharing her info, because somebody's got some music playing here. But because of hate mail, and I just want to assure them that it does get read. And Judy knows. By the way, Kiki, so I see a lot of my friends have showed up. I'm so glad. I've enjoyed your content, and I'm really glad that they're here. And Sifa, let me bring this up. Sifa is Lord King. He's one of my best friends. I love him to death. And I see he's making a comment. Rock Chalk, I got all the server arrivals taken care of, by the way. And just a reminder, it starts in an hour, the Paramount Plus. And sorry, Kiki, this is your show. I would never try to take over.
Oh, please. And we've been on for almost 3 hours. Please talk about whatever you want. And I want you to promote other channels.
Yeah. I was talking about his other comment where he said that all your people, including you, that maybe joined that Discord, he's approved you so that you're able to watch that Paramount Plus.
Thank you so much. No, my husband's downstairs. We'll be watching it when we get off of here. And I wrote it. So let's see. Again, that's 1 o'clock Central Time. So it's
Exactly an hour from now. An hour from now. And everybody, please remember that when you get to the Discord, Sifa set up a place. You just click on that, and he'll have a join. He'll put a big green button, which will make it easy. You just hit that and join. We will automatically mute you, but there is a chat in the back where you can chat as you go. But that way it don't interrupt the conversation and the viewing. But if you have comments back, I'll be in the back to try to comment back. It'll actually be like being at the movies, but we can talk in the back. How about that?
Perfect. No, this is great. It's great. I can't wait to show up today. It's going to be fun. It's going to be informative. And also we're going to see a lot of creators that we see every day. And they're going to be, for whatever they say, whatever the, however Paramount paints them, it's honoring people who have put their heart into this case that we've all watched and, respect. I want to say something before we move on too, because Jeff, you just spent so much time sharing those personal statements. And I just want to say you're very brave, number one, for sharing that. You're helping other people when you share those experiences, particularly when you talk about people surviving crack cocaine addiction, a couple that stayed together through serving, helping their addiction. That's almost unheard of. We don't hear a lot of that. And it's so good to hear. And also hearing you surviving what you went through as a young man, losing a close friend and then another close friend. Because when people hear that you persevere or you have strength through things like that, you never know who needs to hear that. And so thank you for having courage to come out in public and say it. Thank you.
Yeah, when you can provide almost like, because it's easy to question, like, what's the purpose of this pain? What is the purpose of this that I'm going through? Is there a purpose for it? Like, if you can turn it around and say, okay, you can make something better from something awful, that happened. I mean, I was drug-free all through high school, alcohol-free. I was the only one of my friends. I mean, we were all musicians. So you can imagine everyone. I mean, they were tripping and I was shining a laser on the ceiling, sober, and completely sober. And I'm thankful. Now, it was at an extreme cost. I mean, to lose my uncle to drugs and alcohol was awful. But I mean, I look at my life today and I'm still, drug and alcohol free and just don't, you know, I can hang with my grandkids and we can be like the same. It's like, hey, you guys don't need drugs or alcohol either, do you? And we're having a great time, right? Yeah, you too, Grandpa. It's like, yeah, I learned it at an early age at a high cost. But I think it's exactly what my uncle would have wanted. I mean, the night before, he wanted me to watch a program about drug addiction. And little does he know, well, I know he knows. He knows that he has managed in the way everything happened. I'm drug and alcohol free. And I think it's a wonderful way to be. I apologize to the alcohol companies and makes millions of dollars on people getting drunk and smashing their cars up and killing people and killing family members. But, you know, you'll survive. You know, if a few people control their alcoholism and drug addiction. Life is simpler than I think we make it. And, you know, I think it's a beautiful thing and you don't need much. And, but thanks for that. Thanks for letting me share. You know, send me like a psychiatrist invoice or something, because that was very therapeutic to allow me to share that.
It's so important. I haven't had a drink personally in over 10 years now. I'm going on 11 years, and I didn't quit because I had a problem. I quit because I was supporting, you know, the person that I loved who didn't drink. And it was a shock to me culturally as I started attending social events and parties, how I used alcohol as an excuse to have silly behavior or act a fool, or just as a way to break the ice instead of using my mind and making real genuine connections with people. It's funny how our culture tells us that in order to have a good activity, oftentimes we have to amplify it with drugs. And now we're being told, you know, and I have nothing against medical marijuana, you know, I use it too, but we're also being told in our society all things, you know, are enhanced by this. So it's one thing to do medical, but, you know, just teaching us that we can have some fun without having to amplify it with something. But that's not what I necessarily wanted to trail off onto. I wanted to bring up that on addiction. I'm losing my train of thought too. And you made me think of one thing that I wanted to share with our audience, which was another guitarist who never did a drug and never did any alcohol and was deeply affected by loss of addiction in their life at a young age, which they claimed kept them off of drugs and alcohol and propelled them into success, was John Mayer. And if you, whatever you think of him, if you go back and he is an incredible guitarist and he's an incredible musician and lyricist. And same thing happened to him as a young man. He was affected deeply by watching his hero OD, and he never touched drugs or alcohol again. And, you know, he's a happy, successful person. And I'm not trying to trail off. I know this is about the case, but obviously we still have 60 people here and people want to talk about it. It's touching everybody's life.
You just gave me another reason to love John Mayer even more. I didn't know that. I mean, that guy's amazing. He's an amazing guitarist. It's the nicest guy. It seems like giving of everything that he knows on these little videos, teaching other guitarists how to be just like him, not hiding his secrets, not like, you know, saying no, you know, it took me a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of lessons and to get to this point, I'm not sharing it. No, that guy's top notch. Yeah, Ted Nugent. I just saw somebody say Ted Nugent. Now, Ted Nugent, a lot of people might not agree with his politics that he went into, but yeah, that guy was, you know, that was an inspiration to me when I was growing up because I listened to a lot of Ted Nugent, and to hear the stories and hear him talk about he's like alcohol and drug free. It's like, okay, see. But yeah, people can give you put a lot of pressure on you when you don't fit into the norm or what seems to be the norm. It's like you're just ordering a Coke. It's like, yeah, man, you're just smoking pot. I'm doing Coke. Just kidding.
Kiki?
Yes?
I appreciate you having me, love, and I will be back. I am subscribed too. I see a lot of my friends subscribed. Please don't cause drama, because I am not. I just really wanted you to be careful. Robert can tell you a story later about how he let somebody up on panel and they started showing gay porn to the audience. I was not trying to start drama. I was just trying to help you be aware, because it's happening a lot right now. I don't want to see your family here a victim of that.
I just appreciate it. And I don't know are you saying that you're leaving the chat right now? Or are you staying on?
I am. Well, Sip, okay. We've only got 50 minutes now, and we want to go get everything ready for that Paramount Plus, please, I enjoy seeing you and your hubby there, and I will be in back chat. I really hate to leave. I wish I'd have got up earlier because I would have joined you from the get-go. And one thing you'll find out about Rock is I don't like anybody having to be by themselves. So when you said, if anybody would like to come up, well, I like to come up because I don't like anybody by themselves.
I am honored to have you on. I knew your voice right when you started talking from that. It's imprinted in my mind from the Donna I case. And I just saw you jump right into action. I'm glad I've had a chance to in person tell you how impressed I was with that. I didn't only hear you there on Tommy's. I heard you with Cluminati in Dago, and you were almost on top of it more than any of you were the most on top of it. I'm impressed by that, and I wanted to let you know, extend my respect to you. And we can't wait to join you 1 o'clock Central Time in the Discord. I'm gonna print. I'm gonna post the.
It's actually noon.
Sorry, I'm on that New York time. We think the
I'm
whole
trying
world's
to help
on.
you. You're all right, sweetheart. You're all right. Anyway, thanks to your chat. And Sifa, I'm going to be meeting up with you right now. I just didn't want anybody, when he said DM me, check my DMs. That's my hint to, let's go get this ready for the show. So I will watch you again and hopefully jump up and meet your sister-in-law too. But thank you, everybody. Love all of you.
Thank you. And thank you, Sifa. I see your comments and we appreciate you in the live chat, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys at 12 o'clock Central Time.
Yep. You only got 9. Okay.
Right.
Love you all. I'm going to step down.
I see you, Rock.
Okay.
Hey Swamp, I don't know what we'll take it wherever you were going to take it to, but the I noticed when you were pulled up the 2 a.m. clip on my channel, the little clip, it's a real short clip, but it's a clip showing the Banfield camera and the Linda Lane camera picking up those 4 horn honks. I didn't know if that was still of interest. We were talking about that earlier, but I think that gives a good sense of how much you can hear on that camera from that known distance. We know that car was parked by the fire hydrant. But if you go back one page to, not in this video, but it was in the list of.
That's a great comparison. So it was
There it is. See the little cartoon ear at the bottom in the middle? That's the clip.
Okay. I'm gonna pull this up.
But listen how you can only hear 3 honks on the Linda Lane.
Beer? Is that beer in your hand? Yeah, I'm 21.
We're coming back.
Hey,
Okay.
Is that beer? Is that beer in your hand? Yeah, I'm 21.
Okay. Wow, that is really faint. I want to play it again. We're going to start over.
Hey, is that beer? Is that beer in your hand? Yeah, I'm 21. Hey, is that beer? Is that beer in your hand? Yeah, I'm 21. Hey, is that beer? Is that beer in your hand? Yeah, I'm 21.
Stop.
You know what it could be that also too, that the reason you don't hear, well, the 3rd and 4th honk are real close together. And I think the 4th honk, because these horns are like, I think it's air, pushing through. The 4th honk doesn't quite have as much power coming out. It's quieter, I think. But I think too, it could be a result of some of the noise reduction I put on the Linda Lane footage to get rid of that rumbly, bassy noise. It might be eating into and causing it to lose that 4th horn. But
Well, okay. So my dogs are fighting in the background. I'm sorry. So just for context, so the people listening, so the Banfield is about 150 feet away. It's right in front of the.
Well, I think it's 100 yards from the Linda Lane camera. 100 yards from the Linda Lane camera to the house. I think it's 107 if I measured on Google Earth from about the camera location to the sliding glass door on the kitchen. 107. So that's 107 yards. So then if you're going all the way, you're going across that big parking lot down at the Taylor Avenue. So it's probably like, I don't know, maybe it's more in the range of 200 yards. Well, you keep talking. I'll look it up on Google Earth, see if I can do a rough measurement.
No, and I'm glad you corrected me because I was using feet instead of yards. But my point was to like say, if we're comparing noises, so it'd be a little bit further beyond the King Road house because we're going to be listening to a yell in a second and seeing how it compares. And the sound would also have to travel through a little bit more, not only distance, but the house. But it roughly would be, we have something to compare it now, a noise that's definitely happening outside the building versus a noise that's definitely happening within the building. So let's listen to that scream again, because that was chilling. And go down to the scream. Oh, I don't know. It seems a lot closer.
It sounds like they're saying a fight. It's a fight.
No, I think you're right. Let's hear again. Oh, whoops. Let me go to the timestamp.
Problem is, though, is like you have to consider in context. Like if somebody yells something and it's something like that. This is where my mind goes anyway. I'm not criticizing Robert. This is what made my mind think. Somebody says a fight, and then silence. It's like, now, unless they're all like, hearing impaired and everybody starts sign languaging, like somebody stop the fight, then I could understand the silence after a comment like that. But it seems like you would expect after somebody saying something like a fight, that you'd hear like, hey, yeah, go. Either they're encouraging it or there's someone to stop it. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? That there would be a lot of, so just little brief moments of noise and then silence says to me, it's like, you saw a friend of yours and maybe they're way across the way. So you yell to them and then that's all there is, I mean, maybe there's somebody that has a name that sounds a little bit like a fight, or something of that sort.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both for me because the thing is that I see what so for me, I can never see or hear exactly what everyone else is hearing and seeing in these Linda Lane things. So I listen to what people say and then I try to repeat what they've heard. I can never hear or make out what people are saying, but I'm listening to the tone and it doesn't sound like, hey, Sue, it's just not that tone. It's like, it's got a down drop. So if you're like screaming, like it would sound like you were aggressively screaming towards someone or making a remark. It doesn't sound like the friendly type yell. I don't know. Maybe I don't have to explain this, but it's the tone that I'm listening to, not exactly what they're saying is my point.
I was recently helping a friend of mine who had ring camera footage from the front of his house, and the next door, he thinks they're selling drugs. So he had documented all this stuff. But this woman gets tackled and attacked in front of that house next door by a guy she knows. He runs after her from the car, knocks her to the ground, and she's yelling and screaming. But in comparison, this is just a woman that's getting roughed up by somebody she knows in the front yard, probably something that happens often with them because she went right back to the guy. It's like one of those types of situations. But the yelling continued and continued. She's like, help me, somebody help me, somebody call the police, somebody help me, somebody. It just goes on and on and on. And it isn't just like a quick thing. I think I wish I could make out the stuff that they're saying so that it was clearer. But like even in the what did you say to Adam video, I hear the guy's voice saying, you're going to ditch those guys when you're inside. And some people just instantly say, oh, that makes no sense. It's not supposed to make sense. That's just what I'm hearing. Like then when I hear other people say, it's like, oh, it doesn't make sense. I think they're saying they're going to get you guys. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I don't think it's scientific to make it make sense. I think it's more scientific to say this is what the sounds that I'm hearing, the number of syllables I'm hearing, and it doesn't make sense. Sorry, that's all. Science took me to that point. I'm not going to take my own impressions and say, oh, you know what? You might go there in thinking about it, trying to figure it out, sure. But to say, because it's a stretch, I cannot make that sound like they're going to get you, they're going to get you, Maddie, I think even people have said. And then what happens is they take it there And then the next thing I know, I'm watching YouTube channels like, well, we know, here's the facts we know. We know that somebody said on that camera, they're going to get you, Maddie. It's like, wait a minute, you've turned it now into fact. Now you're building upon that. You're building upon all these things. And then before you know it, all these things you're building upon that aren't true, it's just going to crumble. And then you're going to find out Occam's razor is true. And it's like, it was something simpler. Like sometimes I even wonder if there's a guy standing under that camera and that it wasn't Jack Showalter saying those words. Because if you think about it, Jack Showalter is very far away when that's being said. And then compare that to like the quality and the clarity of, you know, the girls when they're getting close to the camera. So the girls are clear when they're close to the camera. That guy's voice is pretty clear, thus close to the camera. So part of me wonders if it's not just a guy that's standing under the camera. Shoot, he could be on the phone. Could be a guy just standing up against the wall under that camera, unseen to us, but on the phone, you know.
When we were watching earlier, and I don't know if you and Robert were on earlier when we were watching, but we were talking about a Reddit post that's trending right now about why there weren't more screams heard. Because like you said, you were wondering why the screaming didn't go on and on. It's just like one bleh and then nothing. But the whole screaming controversy, there were a couple things we went over. And one of them is there might not have been time for a continuous scream just by the nature. I mean, again, trigger warning, having a stab wound in your throat, vocal cords, or torso could prevent you from continuing screaming. That's one thing. And number two, I mean, we went through all the scenarios. They might not have had time to get out more than a yell or one scream. And the reason why we're referencing that, or what we're taking as evidence for that, is we talked about Ted Bundy and how he attacked the Chi Sigma sorority house, and 2 girls were clubbed to death, not stabbed, but clubbed to death. And there were 4 victims, 2 survived. The 3rd victim did not hear the other 2 getting murdered. And she did not wake up until Ted Bundy was right in front of her. And he ended up, she got one, she didn't get a scream out before he clubbed her, he said. There were also women who were slept through the entire thing, woke up the next day. And I just want to add to this, just as a warning to any females watching, Ted Bundy chose those rooms of those victims because they were unlocked. So please lock your doors, not just girls, but all of you out there. Do not leave your doors unlocked. But just, you know,
is it true that they were clubbed to death? Or I thought that I had read that they were clubbed. I assumed knocked unconscious and then strangled with a stocking. Is what I thought I had heard Ted Bundy did. But it's possible maybe he did club them to death. But I think the point you're making is that you knock them unconscious and then they're not going to scream. And in this case, with a knife being used as a weapon, not stockings for strangle, but when you're using a knife, isn't it going to be a lot easier to control where the blood spray goes if the person is unconscious? You're going to roll them over so that it sprays away from you. You've got total control over the situation. And in my theory, personally, I think there's a scenario where he could have knocked out 3 of the 4 is part of his plan. If it's knocked them out. And again, you got to think about that K-bar knife. I have the same K-bar knife, and the butt end of it, if I slam it into my palm, it's no different than taking a little hammer and smack it into my palm. It's just the exact same thing. And if you watch people, like there's security footage of guys walking down the street and they bop somebody in the back of the head and that person just goes down unconscious on the sidewalk. It doesn't take much to knock somebody out, especially if it's your plan from the start. That's your method, and you know how hard to hit them, where to hit them. So I really think there's a possibility he took a page out of Ted Bundy's playbook, and that's what happened. Now, I think Kaylee came into the room because the dog woke her up from across the room, and she, as she's coming across the hall, she says, "There's somebody here." And she goes in and sees the awful thing that's happening to Maddie and tries, being raised by Steve G, alpha male. Of course, she's going to jump in and just be like Dad would have her do, and try and stop this instead of running away or, something like that. And I think, what would you do if you're the killer? That's your method. You go in there, knock them unconscious, controllably unalive them. if you see somebody coming in you did not expect, you're going to be very upset. This is not part of the plan. And I can just see that butt end of that K-bar going at her face, and just, you know, more violently, because didn't they say she had wounds that seemed more violent or different than a lot of people thought she was the probably the target, because it was so much more violent in her case. And I just think that if he is trying to be sure that she goes down as quickly as possible, he can see she's probably aggressive coming at him. Now maybe she doesn't even know he's got a knife at the time she goes to attack or goes to stop him. Maybe she thinks he's just, you know, trying to do something else, and then discovers, oh my gosh, he's got a knife. And then she's hit in the face, tries to scooch back into that corner on the bed to get away from him, and truly is, like they said, is trapped.
Robert, let me ask you a question, just building on what we're saying. I would like to hear your opinion, because Jeff is one of the first people who said this, which I thought from the beginning. I didn't think Kaylee was in that room. I thought she came in after the fact for my own reasons. Before, I don't want to get into those. I'd like to know, what are your thoughts? Do you think Kaylee was asleep in the room? Do you think she entered the room? Do you have any thoughts on this, Robert?
Yeah, with everything that's coming out, especially in the new interview that Steve and Christy did, where they said that they found Kaylee setting up and slumped over, and the way Steve and Christy put it, the room was so small, it was like wall, and the door would scrape the foot of the bed. I think if she was asleep in that room, then she was trapped in there. Because if you're found setting up and slumped over, then that means that you were putting up a hell of a fight. Because they found Maddie the same way. She was halfway slumped over.
You know,
and
because we're talking about we were talking about the sound from the Linda Lane camera to the house. There's also the sound that Dylan heard. The reason I think that she came from the hallway also too, mainly, is because it doesn't say that Dylan said she screamed, "There's someone here." And I think probably Kiki, maybe because you have dogs, I have a German Shepherd. It's not uncommon for the dog to act a certain way, and I could easily find myself saying, "Oh, hey, there's someone here." I can tell by the way the dog is acting, there's someone here. I'm not screaming, "There's someone here." So if Dylan can hear there's someone here in the hallway, that's just a couple feet from inside the room. If it seems to me, if she was already inside the room and there's someone here, that's going to be a scream, "There's someone here," because she's seeing the someone here. I think this is more of like, there's someone here, I'm going to go check it out. It sounds like it's probably coming from Maddie's room. But if you're in the bed already, I just think there's more time to scream, to make a clear understanding to anyone that's in earshot. If she's in the room, there's time for her to scream. There's time for her to make known that this is a scary thing that's happening, not "There's someone here, I'm going to go check it out because the dog woke me up." And it just seems like it fits everything. If the dog woke her up, she walks across the hall, says "someone here," right at the same time Dylan is saying, "It sounds like somebody's playing with the dog," which is probably the same dog noise that woke up Kaylee, same dog noise I think that woke up Dylan. Although, it could be some of the struggle and the scuffle. But the thing is like, if a unaliving is happening directly above your room and you describe it as someone playing with the dog, I don't think there's screaming happening. And if Kaylee's in the bed, that's basically my point, is that if she's already in the bed laying there, there's enough time for her to scream and yell. And that apparently didn't happen, unless there's more to the PCA that they didn't put in there. But
that one.
Well, see, just like Ann Taylor said in that last court date, which was on the 26th of last month, Ann Taylor stood up in a bold statement and said the PCA, as far as she could tell, is full of holes, half-truths, and inconsistencies. That came out of Bryan's attorney, is full of holes, half-truths, and inconsistencies. And they're going to be having another hearing on the 28th of this month to go over the change of venue and to set the trial date and everything. And I'm going to try to live stream that on my channel.
Yeah. And we'll definitely be live streaming on this channel. It is 1 o'clock on the 28th. So join me, join Robert, all of us. We're all community. Absolutely. And Robert, I know you've got that other thing too going on later today. So if you need to cut out, I don't want to hold you up here, but I have so many questions for the both of you. The first thing is both of you said something that I feel like one points the evidence in one direction, one points in the other. Like what you just said, Jeff, Kaylee would have had time to scream if she was in that bedroom slumped over. But like you said, Robert, the parents are saying they were in the same bed. Kaylee was found in the bed slumped over. There's got to be something that makes them so sure that they were sleeping together. But a couple other things, like if downstairs, if Dylan heard Kaylee say, there's someone here, she would have had to have been out in the hallway, because if you're mistaking a murder for playing with the dogs up in the upstairs room, which they just pointed out, Mike just pointed out there was no insulation on the walls. If you can mistake that, then I don't think you could hear someone saying there's someone here from inside the bedroom. So it would either have to be Kaylee outside the room or Xana, because it was a female who said it. So the other thing, Chaos, is Xana could have said there's someone here. I'm sorry, Robert, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I agree with you, because we watched an interview last night with Steve G and Christy, and Steve G said the injuries don't match, and the police keep saying, "Oh, it was a targeted attack," and then they walked that back, and then they came out with, "Oh, maybe the house was the target," and then they walked that back. And what I can't figure out is the day of the murders, they sent out a shelter in place to the students, but yet 40 minutes later they retracted that shelter in place. Oh, it's safe. We don't think this person is going to attack anybody else. How do they know that?
Oh, I have theories on this. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. I think about this all the time. So I've heard a True Crime Web said something interesting on T-Grev's live stream once. I think it was him anyway. He goes, I wonder, did somebody write something on the wall? And hear me out on this. Why is it that they knew there was a target? They couldn't say if it was the person or it was the house, but they knew it from the beginning. And they told us there was no danger to threat to the public. So again, we have to believe there's a case where law enforcement isn't telling us the truth, or we have to believe there's something more we don't know. Could they have wrote something in the wall? Could the unaliver have wrote it? Could one of the victims have wrote it? We know these are young people who would have fought for every minute of life if they still had it in them afterwards. Could they have done something? What made them say this house was targeted? Because again, we either have to believe there's something we don't know, or we're being misled. So it's probably what I can't see another plausible explanation. It's something we don't know, or
that's an interesting theory. Very interesting theory. Yeah, and wasn't Ethan like blocking the door? I wonder if Ethan had just enough energy to crawl to the door, trying to get out or get help, and maybe. But then makes you ponder though, what would they have written? Like, we don't know this guy, or bushy eyebrows, or if it was the killer, would he have said, "Catch me before I go to Pennsylvania"?
If you look at the counts on the indictment, you have Maddie first, you have Kaylee, you have Xana, and then you have Ethan. They were in the charges. They were going at how they found the victims. So you have Maddie first, you have Kaylee, you have Xana, and then you have Ethan. Because that the blood on that wall that was dripping outside on the foundation, they're saying was Ethan's blood, because according to Brett Payne, when he arrived on the scene, he found Ethan laying near the wall, and he found Xana in the bed.
Yeah, I've
And
heard
Xana put
a couple different accounts of where Ethan was found, but yeah, it seems what you just said seems to make the most sense of where it's in my mind where they were found.
Yeah, so that blood we see dripping along the foundation is Ethan's.
So you don't. So
Yeah, that would be easy enough to figure out too.
You're saying Ethan couldn't have been blocking the doors. What am I hearing you right, Robert? You're saying it wouldn't be possible
Yes.
because he was over to the side. So the other thing,
You know, this could be a misunderstanding. I mean, sometimes these things are misunderstood. Like, I mean, during the scuffle in Xana's room, maybe there was some, I don't know, big pillows or comforter or blanket or something that got thrown. And maybe it's like they felt that the door was blocked to try and get in, or a chair or something, and the door was blocked to get in. Everybody's interpreted to mean there was a body that was blocking the door. Who knows? I don't know how important it is no, it's all important. Every detail is important, because I think the blocking of the door with Ethan's body that they were talking about earlier on, I think that led to, well, then he must have, that the door's closed, the killer must have gone out the window, down the ladder. Before you know it, you've got a whole different exit strategy of the killer. And then, but Dylan saw somebody go out the kitchen door, so it must be two killers. So one went out the Xana's window, down the ladder. It just goes off in all kinds of different directions. But I don't know. How do we know though that when they list the order, that the order is significant to how they found them? Or were you saying it's how they found the bodies, or the order they believe they were unalived?
When you watch that first preliminary with Bryan, they read off the charges, and the first name on the list is Maddie, and the second name is Kaylee, and the third name and the fourth name is Xana, and the fifth name is Ethan. Because you have the burglary, and then you have the other four charges. The last one that they named was Ethan.
I just wonder if there really is significance to the order, though. That's what I'm asking. Unless it's just a known rule that the order applies to something significant. I mean, it's definitely. I was as you were, reading them off. I was like, well, it's not alphabetical.
I want to just address one quick thing about the door. So the in terms of the door they were unable to open the door. I think it depends on how it's worded, but it could have something to do with the auto locks. A previous roommate who used to rent in that house went on the record and showed a picture of the locks and said these were on each door. We know Xana's father recently replaced the lock. When they say that they called, it was allegedly Hunter. We don't know that. But I mean, it could have been a matter of trying to find somebody who knew the lock code, or somebody who might have a crowbar or a tool that could open the door. I say crowbar. So that's the other thing.
That's another great point. It could be just the door was locked, and then I was watching Finding Nemo with my grandkids 2 weekends ago. Remember in Finding Nemo where all the animal characters are sharing the story of this father trying to find his son, and some of them, the story, they have it a little mixed up and it's a little more fantastic than it really is, and then others it's less, but it's a kind of thing. It's like the telephone game too. Maybe the story changes a little bit, so it could be that it's the lock. They need somebody that knows how to get past the lock. That becomes out in the public like, well, there must have been a body blocking the door. Maybe it was Ethan, he's big, because if it was Xana, it seems like you push the door, she's smaller, so it makes you wonder if the story has just evolved into something else from what it originally started.
Well, definitely. I think people speculate, but I really want to say I do think the order of death matters, particularly when we're talking about this subject, because if Xana and Ethan were last and the door was being blocked, then we could start some speculation about possibly that ladder coming into play. Because if the door was blocked from the inside and locked, which I'm not saying it was, but if we're going to look at that angle, it would matter the time, because the time of death would prove who was last and possibly them exiting out that window. So again, it is speculation. You're right. It is a game of telephone, but I don't think that anybody I at least the people that I hear speculating, you, Robert, I don't feel like you're just, pulling out a fantasy and saying, well, what if a purple leprechaun was behind the door? Like, you guys are making educated guesses based on, well, what could this be? If we connected this dot, what would this look like? And as long as we're always clear what is confirmed information and what is speculation, I think it's okay. I don't know. I think that I know where my sources come from. I know where I heard about the lock. I know, I don't know. I don't hear people talking wild speculations without at least saying where their sources are come from or
yeah. And in the truth when you're onto the truth, all the pieces will fit. They'll all make sense. So if it's speculation and you're off, then some things will make sense. Other things won't. But yeah, I think it's very important to understand the order of the unalivings. But I'm just curious, in the court system, when they read off the names, if that order that they've chosen to read the names has any real significance.
Robert?
And I'm not a legal expert. I wouldn't know if that's just randomly chosen or if it's first they read those that lived there and they ended with Ethan because he didn't live there. I don't know.
I never really, I guess I didn't look at it in that way before, but I am going to look at it now because why did they say them in that order? And I know they know. Forensically, you will be able to tell unless there was 4, originally sourced unaliving weapons and there was a complete, hazmat suit involved. I think we're going to be able to tell what the order is.
Yeah, I know they can do like food digestion, but it seems like, if this did truly happen somewhere between like 409, 410 and 420, that's, well, if you say 410, 420, that's, I'm not great with math. So it's 10 minutes. In a 10-minute span, I don't know if they can tell like, oh, this person passed away 5 minutes before this person. I don't know if that's even possible, but
It is. And I'm not trying to contradict, but
Rock Chalk and Sip, Kiki, Rock Chalk and Sip need my help setting up the cinema room. And I'll see you in there. And I hope I'll see you tomorrow night on my panel, Kiki.
For sure.
Great to see you, Robert.
Robert, we're putting your Discord up right now so that people can join. Robert has set up a special place for all of us if we want to watch the Paramount Plus. No commercials, straight through, back to back. He's playing that today in his Discord. There's a link in the live chat. Please go visit him and visit his channel.
And check out the Idaho 4 discussion room. There's like over 500 pieces of evidence that Nina Kelly has dropped in there.
I can't wait to look at that stuff. Thank you so much, Robert. We appreciate you. And thank you for being with us today. Good luck at your Discord, and we'll all see you live a little bit later. So thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 7.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Take care.
See you, Robert.
See you, Jeff.
All right, Jeff. I want to tell you this. So forensically, from what I understand, and this is just from, documenting things, the way that they're going to tell the order of death is because of 2 things. The first is the blood cross-contamination. So you're going to be able to tell if you unalived one person before another because you're going to see DNA cross-contamination.
All right, you go from victim to victim. Yeah.
And then people keep saying, oh, well, there's no, how did he do this without getting blood everywhere? Well, we've never actually heard that there's no blood evidence in between the rooms. And contrary to that, we've seen FBI swabbing and taking samples underneath the good vibes sign out in the, so there could be blood evidence in between those rooms. So that's another way they could tell. And then the other thing is the fragments of metal. So at a volume, the K-bar is going to leave trace evidence behind. It will leave. That's what dulling of a knife is. It's pieces of the knife falling off. So the first victim is going to have more of that forensic evidence versus the last person is going to have less of that trace evidence. So those are they are going to be able to tell who was first. The problem is, did they do that? Because 3 of these bodies have been cremated now. So if they haven't, not something they can do after the fact. Anyway.
Yeah, I think, because I know everybody, I'm sure, has a theory they play in their head. For me, it's like a DVD. I hit play and I just watch it. But a lot of the camera footage, if it's true that this white car, that I believe is an Elantra, is, it's that you have the start time and the end time. You have it entering for the final time into that area. And what's interesting to me is that if it's true that it passes by the Linda Lane camera 5 times, the 5th pass is much faster. He's driving much faster than all the previous. So it's interesting to me that the last pass he'd drive in faster, and exiting that neighborhood, he's leaving very fast, to the point where I believe he's leaving skid marks. If you listen to the 4:21:19 a.m., the skid mark, or the sound of that car, you can imagine. As I sat there and listened to it, I thought, okay, now he's going from the back of the house. He's losing a little control. He's trying to make that left turn. I think probably maybe almost skid into the curb. There's a curb there that's painted yellow that there's like a student sitting on. There's a picture of. I think if he almost lost control and slid into that curb, probably thought, oh my gosh, that was close. I do not need to lose control and total the car right here in front of the house. And then that's the moment where you slam on the gas and now you're heading straight to get out of the neighborhood. And that's maybe what causes skid marks. I don't know if the skid marks are from the losing control or from losing control, stopping, and then slamming the gas down. I'm not an expert in tire skid marks, but I bet somebody that knows skid mark could tell if these are a skid to a stop or from standstill skidding, into full speed. But I think those 2 times are critical.
I wonder if they can, though. Can they tell if it's an acceleration tire mark or if it's a skid tire mark? I don't know. That's a great question.
I think this is just a guess, but I would think if you hit the brakes and you're skidding, it's going to smear the rubber until you slow down to where, then maybe it comes to a point. You'd be able to tell if it's a smear to a stop or if it's standstill, to where you gain, because you gain traction. I don't know. Again, I don't want to speculate on something I don't really know anything about.
Oh, no, it's good speculation because, in the beginning of this, when we were talking about tire marks, I actually said they'll be able to tell. And then as I said it, I'm like, where did I hear that before? And so when you said that, I'm like, that's why I was reposing it to you. It's a question I need answered is my point. And bring up. Did
you see the 3 pictures of the skid marks in front of the house when you search those Google words?
Yeah, I brought up some.
You still have it handy? Because we could maybe, I know there's a curve in them. It's like, kind of, there's not like just straight line skids, or more like a J. But I wonder if looking at them, if there's anything you could figure out.
Okay, so those were this is the one right here. Well, that's interesting because if you look at this tire mark, he would have to spin the tires. He went off. He was braking in, they, whomever. You can see a little, and it's like he's drifting on this part. It's not a full tire impression. It's like on its side. So maybe he went to hit the curve. Is this what we're looking at, Jeff? Am I showing the right?
Right. So you can see the trash cans off to the right. The trash cans mark the corner, where the house is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, well, is that it came around the. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I can't really tell if those are skid marks that say he came around the corner. If they're coming to a stop or if they're almost looks to me like probably was heading towards the curb, and then I don't know.
But with
unfortunately, I don't have a camera showing that very spot.
This is great though, because when we get to a point where 2 of us who follow the basics of this case are both saying, I don't know, it's a new question. It's a new question we have to answer. What can you tell from tire marks?
Well, you can tell that the long length of them isn't parallel with the road. It's like it's headed in the direction of the curb if it's truly the car that came from the back of the house. And then they're correcting, they turn to straighten out to be parallel with the road. So now I also heard, and I have no way to confirm this, but I heard from somebody that is a mega super sleuth, and we talk a lot, is that there was word that the trash can might have been knocked over. But I don't know if that's true. But if I think about that every now and then when I'm thinking about this, it's like, did he try and make that cut that corner sharp, hit the trash can, kind of lose control? But again, I hate to even mention that because that isn't proven, and I only know of one person that's even mentioned
Would we hear it
being knocked over.
Would we
Yeah,
hear
I didn't
it?
really. I don't know. I didn't, when I was listening. I was listening to it to see if I could hear the car, because this is what I imagined as I was hearing it, that it came from the back of the house. This is Queen Road we're looking at in this picture. He went down Queen to the stop sign. He, they, them, whatever they are, whoever it was, went to the stop sign, made the right onto King, and then made a left onto Taylor. And what I was listening for was to see how long I could continually hear the car. And I think you can hear it kind of, you imagine its route left on Taylor, up Walenta, and then it, I think, comes, there's that house that's behind a block, behind where the Queen Road apartments are on Ridge Road, that because I think it can be heard there too, that it's going around that way. I've really wanted, I'm such a procrastinator, but I could take a Google Maps overhead view, put my little car on there like I did in that other animation I did with the little car, and just have it follow the path while you listen to that sound at 421:19, and just see if it makes sense that he would be like one block back on Ridge Road at the time you're hearing it in the sound. Because it should get quieter because he's further away on Taylor and Walenta, and then it should get a little bit louder again as it gets closer on the Ridge Road, a block away.
Jeff, I would be so interested in seeing that. If that is something you have the capacity of doing, please do, because creators like me, I mean, it's just these little questions lingering. It's like getting the clearest picture on the evidence that we do have access to is nice. But I'd be fascinated in seeing that. Sorry.
Did you see the animation I did with the little car on the Google Map overhead?
Was it okay? I
got two. Well, no, it's not two of them on my channel. It's two passes. I animated the little car for the 4:05 pass and for the 4:07 a.m. pass.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Is it
actually if you hit home instead of videos, they're all very. I organized them into groups. So Linda Lane footage. No, that's gonna be just the. Oh man, I accidentally got my. I was looking for a CRV headlamp and it ended up in the playlist. There it is. Oh, in the white Elantra, neck right to the right of the white Elantra.
This one?
That one, yeah. So this is kind of what it would look like. I can use these same elements to make a make a video.
This is great, Jeff. I haven't seen this before.
I could have made that turn a little better. That was a little odd. I need to figure out how to make the car animation, how to have it anchored by the front wheels to turn the car. You can tell I'm kind of roughing it.
I am impressed. This is so cool.
You can see this is back when I used to be with T-Rev doing stuff like this. That's how it all kind of started.
Well, I like T-Rev. I love T-Rev. I hope he's doing great.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm actually, I said it earlier, I was blocked by 4 channels. I'm blocked by 5. I'm blocked by T-Rev too.
T-Rev blocked you?
Yeah.
You're such a nice guy.
I'm friends with everybody, and what that means is that I'm end up being friends with enemies of T-Rev. That's the unfortunate thing. Oh. Sorry, I'm a Christian. That's what I feel God's called me to do, is be friends with everybody if I can.
Well,
because even the most hateful person can be better tomorrow, right? Otherwise we just write people off the moment they do something, bad. They're like, oh, once bad, always bad. No, I don't believe that.
I believe we do not give up on things or people. And you know what? I think since I do have to go, I think this is like the perfect note to end it on, because I respect all the help you've given to this channel. Like, you're always supporting us in the live chat. You're always showing up. You're always leaving comments and some critiques, and you take the time to watch other people's videos. And I just appreciate you. And I'm sorry that you've gotten some shade from other people, but I've never even seen you be rude to someone, even in your disagreements. You've always given intelligent questions and comments back and forth. So we want to stick up for you here and let you know we support you, and you're welcome here.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it is what it is. People choose to be nice, or people choose to be mean. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I mean, sometimes I know I can be passionate about things, and maybe I just belabor an issue in a debate, and maybe that gets people irritated. I try to give them maybe that's part of the reason. But I really think it just, if I don't fit the narrative that the room is talking about, then it's like, okay, where's the bouncer? Somebody show this Jeff guy the door. And that's a shame, because I know I much prefer a conversation where it's, where nobody's in agreement. We're all debating. We're trying to figure it out. Because isn't that what the jury room is going to look like? Aren't we basically recreating what it's going to be like in the jury room? And this is healthy. So how healthy is it in the jury room? In the jury room, you can't just say, hey, that guy doesn't agree with all of us, just throw him out. You can't. That guy has to be convinced, and if you're good at convincing in conversation, then you should have enough confidence in your theory, even though it's different than in others, to just talk about it. And if you'd never get to agreement, so what? Hug it out. Say, see you tomorrow, brother. And we'll talk about it some more tomorrow. What's wrong with that? No, I'm going to hit the block button because I'm triggered or something. It's like, this is the triggered generation, I guess. And it's like, I don't get it.
I feel that it's our culture at this time in the United States that people get rewarded for being, eccentric, for being loud, for being rude. And I think that so much attention is brought to that, people let go of their common courtesy. And it permeates through our society. Like, there's no reason to ever be mean to someone. And the whole premise of freedom of speech is that the best argument will win. So if you've got an argument and you don't understand what your argument is, you shouldn't be talking about it. So whether it comes to politics or Idaho 4, if I want to talk about something, I should at least know where it comes from or where the source is. And people get frustrated because they just want you to take whatever they say. But the premise of freedom of speech is that we all talk and that we can debate and that the strongest argument will win. And the arguments that make no sense will fall away. Kind of like, I don't know, Jeff, if you've received those emails, but there's someone trying to run the narrative with the Idaho 4. And as creators, we're all receiving the emails telling us what to put. But the thing is you can't really push it on YouTube because everyone's going to turn to you and say, well, where the F did you hear that? Where's your source? And so anyway.
People feel so strongly about their narrative that they've got that they'll fake who they are. They'll call themselves Dot. They'll get on a channel, and push, their narrative. And it's happened multiple times. So it just shows you, it's like the desire to win an argument or to solve the mystery is so strong that you'll like go to all lengths. And it's like, do we want truth, or do we want, yeah, you won, you convinced everybody? It's like, no, you want the truth of what really happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that people who want to have a story first or a story exclusive, in a rare instance, it might, boost your channel for a momentary time. But the fact is that we all grow at the same rate. We all have the same information. There's no competition. It's a marathon that we're all on. We all gain subscribers. There are unique situations like with T-Rev when he got featured on News Nation because he had a caller call into his show. But, in general, we're all working with the same information and we're all growing at the same rate. There's no competition. And the more that
the other thing great about T-Rev, though, I've always said it from the start, T-Rev opens the phone lines to everybody and anybody and says, you got 5 minutes to talk about what you want to talk about. If that isn't freedom of speech in action, I don't know what is. And he's very, gracious towards, he'll let him know if he disagrees with them, but he's very gracious about you know, what they have to say, and is not going to run them out of town, you know, for, you know, yeah, it's just, I think that's the way to be. I think there's power when a person walks away from something and they're like, wow, I deserve to be like, you know, yelled at in retaliation for what I did, but they didn't. They treated me nice. And there's power in that. It's like that you know what you deserve. And usually I think that's what people are trying to do anyway. I'm going to attack you, then you attack me. So then now I'm justified in attacking you back. And then before you know it, it's Israel and Palestine going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It never, ever ends. That's why there's a Bible verse that says a soft answer turns away wrath. If somebody's yelling at you and you give them back a soft answer, your chance of making peace with them is greater than if you just give them back the hard answer that they gave you. You know, I mean, do you want to continue fighting or do you want to make a friend? That's why my expression that it just started to become like something I kept saying is that your enemy today can be your friend tomorrow, and you should keep the door open for that. And like you said, yeah, your channel continues to grow. I don't care about my channel. I like to look at the subs and just see, and it's like just continually goes up and up and up. I'm not doing anything to really try. It's funny though, you know, I do a video and I see, wow, there's a few dollars went into the thing. I really should do more videos. Maybe I'd make more dollars, but it's not the reason that I do this. I mean, when a video comes out that I've made, I've put a lot of thought into it, and that's why they're so few and far between. It's like I don't want to put out because it's cool. People are using these videos that I put out, and if I put out something false and crazy, and then they continue to use it, I've just thrown a bunch of poison into the mix that, you know, people are gonna. It's really amazing. It's amazing that you know, I've been in video since high school. I took a video production class in high school, and that's where it all started. To think back then that we would have the ability to turn on our computer and broadcast to the world, that is like, to do that when I was in high school in that day, you had to get a job at a TV station, and you wouldn't be able to like choose what you're going to say. You'd get a job as like the guy that gives the cue, like, okay, we're live and action, you know, or you're running the camera, or you're running the switcher. You're not doing like you are doing it all right now. You are broadcasting to the world. And the fact that I'm even speaking to the world, I mean, when I first got on, there was no way I was going to open my mouth and talk. It's like, everybody's going to hear what I say. A lot of people. This is Swamp Rose. She's going to be like 5 million subs in no time, you know?
Oh, fingers crossed. I don't know. But I just love that. And I love that note to leave it on, because I feel the same way. And it really makes me sad when I see creators that I like, for example, Drip Drop and, you know, Chaos Sector fighting. It's like, wow, I was really enjoying hearing your insights. And it breaks my heart to see people not getting along, because the bottom line is like what you're saying, you know, a kind word can soften somebody. Because you can grow a stone in your heart if you just keep attacking people. You have to find people on your team and your common interests. And again, I got to get off, and especially because we also have that Robert show is starting soon, and we don't want to cut over him. I just want to thank you again for coming up here, Jeff. You've shared such insightful and personal things today, and it just made a great live stream. So thank you for your time. Your handle, Jeff.
Thank you, Kiki. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jeff handle is below. Please go visit Jeff's channel. Like he said, he has stock footage. He has things that he's giving you permission to use on your channel. And he has some background in this, so he's done a really good job. And we're going to keep it.
Right, use it all, everything there. Just I don't care. Just use it. It's for the victims. It's funny because the channels that block me, they'll say like, oh, you'll see me in there under a different account name, and they'll say, oh, Jeff H. Oh, he does great work. And then I think, yeah, but you're not going to show any of it, are you? Because it doesn't fit your narrative. It's like, oh, okay, but I'll take the compliment anyway. But you know, if you want to show it sometime, that'd be cool. You know.
Well, anyway, we appreciate you. I also appreciate the people that are watching right now. I appreciate the beautiful chat that's been going on. I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with displaying all the comments, but thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. And Jeff and I know you can be anywhere on your Saturday, so we appreciate that you chose to be here with us. Peace. Have a great day, and we'll see you in Robert's Discord right now to watch that Paramount Plus. Take care.